Hey, I'm on the edge of my seat here, back again with another brand new video, and today I'll be no damaging all the boss fights in like a Roblox 8, Infinite Robux. And you're gonna notice something about that title is that they actually say the number in it instead of just leaving it out of the title, because in the original Yakuza release, which they're not even called Yakuza anymore, they're called Like a Dragon, it's called Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and the only way you can find out that it's a number 8 is because the infinity symbol, and they did hire me for the Roblox version specifically to give out certain tutorial prompts, so that is me showing off how to do insults to injury. Very, very important move for no damage, especially for stylish no damage, which you're going to need mad skills for. But yeah, Roblox, they never hide away from the numbers. They do like showing off their numbers quite a bit, though it does get kind of weird with some of the more spin-off, not spin-off games, like with Gaiden, because Gaiden is connected to 7, but putting a 7 in the Gaiden title is a little bit strange. But yeah, this is a tutorial fight. You can either dodge using your innate abilities, or you'll have to do a perfect guard using the Sea King's Talisman. And for every single fight in this game, I will have the Sea King's Talisman equipped. So if you don't have that ability, I'm afraid you're not going to be able to no damage this game in the original Dragon release or the Roblox release. And the Roblox symbols and the Dragon symbols are very, very similar. But the Sea King's Talisman is a bit of a tricky item because you can only get 2 per playthrough. So you need to do 2 playthroughs of this game before you can do this epic no damage with the Sea God's Talisman. Did I say Sea King? It was Sea God. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe I did not fact check this before doing commentary. That was a bit of a huge mistake, but you really do have to understand, what's a mob to a king? What is a king to a god? And what is a god to a fellow Robloxian? And what is a famous MMA YouTuber to a man with mad skills who can do epic no damages in Roblox 8? And I'm about to show them off right now. And just playing through this game and no damaging all the boss fights, the combat is just a huge, huge improvement over Roblox 7. My no damage of Roblox 7 was years ago, and it just was less engaging because there wasn't that much to it. But in this game, like, the way you can deal damage, all the epic moves you can do, it's an improvement all across the board, except for the fact that you can't have shortcuts anymore. But menu navigation in this game is also just like so blindingly fast once you get used to it that, like, I don't miss the shortcuts too much, but I really would like the shortcuts back. And if you're not familiar with what the shortcuts are, in Yakuza 7 and Roblox 7, you could set different moves to your D-pad. So you can have like 4 moves which you can immediately quick select and just immediately pop out like that instead of having to go into the menu and select the moves. So, but in this game, because the epic Roblox Kiryu has the Dragon of Dojima style, which requires use of the D-pad, every single other character who does not have the ability to change their stance also suffers from this new change, and they can't have new moves on the D-pad. A bit of a weird oversight. I believe that Roblox Eyes and Lost Judgment also had a similar thing where you could have like quick select healing items, but then like in future entries, like the quick select stuff got shrunk by quite a bit, especially in Gaiden, because Gaiden had the new gadgets and all that. Roblox Gaiden, Yakuza Gaiden isn't even real. It's Like a Dragon Gaiden now, so things change and the times just keep moving forward and forward, a lot like Snake Eater. And Sonic the Hedgehog there with his sick Gone Mobile is showing you how to defeat this Seiryu clan member right now. I really should get back to the Sea God's Talisman because these timings are a pain in the ass. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to do them in this video, and there will be quite a lot of times where I'll dodge an attack. And the difference between an attack that the character just dodges because they're that good and a dodge that they actually perform because you press the right input for the perfect guard is whether it says miss or whether the game slows down and no sound plays. There's going to be a really humorous dodge in one of the final boss fights where it's a grenade, and when the grenade goes off, you would expect a sound effect to play, but because I used the Sea God's Talisman, I used the power of Neptune to actually lower the audio so that nothing could be heard, and Ichiban avoided the attack sonically. It's a very, very advanced technique on Roblox Ichiban's part. But the reason you need 2 playthroughs to get 4 Sea God's Talismans is because in one playthrough you can only get 2 of them. One is by collecting enough talismans, enough good luck fortunes in the open world where the bunny will give you one of them. And the second one is hidden in the Big Swell dungeon. And yes, you will have to buy the Big Swell DLC, and in order to play on Legend you will have to buy the New Game Plus DLC. That is something, sadly, that exists in Roblox 8, the same way it existed in Like a Dragon 8. It's a very cruel and unusual punishment, and the people who created it should be subjected to equal torture as well. And by the way, I am being satirical with that statement. I would not harm anyone on this team for crafting such an excellent game overall, but I do think that was a big, big mistake, and they should not repeat it again. Once again, this is also kind of a tutorial boss fight, but you have to be careful. He can attack you, so if you want to take the easy route, you could deal enough damage or stun him before he does any move. Adachi's big super duper move, where he cuts a bomb and jumps away, has a habit of stunning the enemy, and it's very, very useful. The Transcendent Insoles is a very useful item, and I don't know how to get more than 2 of them, so only 2 characters can have one of them, or 1 character could have 2 stacked on at the same time, but since I'm always going to have the Sea God's Talisman equipped, I am never going to have a character who has more than 1. So yes, I have to do 2 playthroughs of the game. First playthrough, collect all the good fortunes, and then get that Sea God's Talisman. Do the big swell. Second playthrough, do the exact same thing again, and getting all those good luck fortunes means exploring the entirety of Hawaii again, and then again. And well, the great thing about the Sea God's Talisman is that you can collect the first one before the Dwight fight. So on my second playthrough, which is the playthrough where I decided to do no damage, in my Like a Dragon 8 playthrough, I actually had 3 of them during the Dwight fight, so I had a 25% chance of failing if, you know, my skill was 100%, and to be fair, my skill back then was not 100%. I would say that right now, my skill level is very easily, very easily 90%. I still have an element of failure with my perfect guard timings, but I have gotten much better, given that it's been nearly 8 to 9 months since Like a Dragon 8 came out, and Roblox 8 very much follows very similar combat. I will say I do kind of slightly regret this knockout combo, which I performed about a week ago. It took me about a week to no damage all the boss fights in this game in Roblox 8, but this project and this expansion has actually taken quite a bit of time to develop. It's been around 3 or 4 months since the development on this DLC started. It would actually make it would have a similar development time to Like a Dragon Gaiden, surprisingly enough. And I gotta shout out Adam for creating the entire mod. Every single Roblox model, every single Roblox edition, it's all part of his handiwork, which he has just been working tirelessly on, and just big shout out to Adam. He's also worked on the Like a Dragon Gaiden project, so if you want to see more of his handiwork, it's also right there. Big shout out. Without him, this video would not exist, all 2 hours of it. And now here we have Roblox Yamai, a very dangerous foe. We'll be fighting him multiple times throughout this video, but easily the scariest thing about this fight is the fact that you have to watch unskippable cutscenes every single time you fail. I don't know why they designed it like this. Every time you fail, you have to pretty much cart the Emi-chan around. Emi-chan, A-chan, the guy who's pretending to have a disability. Spoiler alert, he still does that in the Roblox version. I don't know why they kept that around. I assumed that would be the twist when I first played Like a Dragon 8. And the reason why I thought it wouldn't be possible and I was still surprised by the reveal when it happened is because if they do that, that would be one of the lamest things they could do. And when the game actually did that, I was like, wow, I am so in shock, and like I'm actually still surprised by the twist because I didn't think they would go that low. I didn't think they would make a plot twist that lame. So you see there, I did not actually do a perfect guard. Ichiban just dodged it because he's that cracked at the game. And I have boosted agility, which I believe the boosted agility stat does not actually boost your ability to dodge attacks, it just gives you more turns to attack the enemy. There is a different evasion ability. I might actually be mixing up my things. I might be getting extra evasion, extra agility. It's kind of hard to tell in between those 2 icons. They're both very useful to have boosted. And the reason why I'm getting boosted agility and evasion, well, I'm definitely getting one of them, is because you'll see my gear at the end of this fight, or at the end of the previous fight. I have this green cape, this Mirage coat. And the Mirage coat is kind of random when it gives you the boosts, but it always will give you a boost at the start of the turn, randomly. So it's not always. There's an element that it won't be always, so that kind of goes against what I just said. I think it'll be a little bit confusing to follow through with what gear. I just earned 420 cash. Are they playing a prank on me? Is this a joke? But anyways, it's going to be a little bit confusing to follow what gear I'm using specifically for every fight. Right there, I just finished that Yamai fight and the gear I was using didn't pop up. Why did it not pop up? What's going on with that? Well, okay, so beginning at the start of this video, at the end of the fight, I will show off my gear. And if in the next fight I'm using the exact same gear to fight the opponent, I won't show my gear then, and then you can just assume that I'm using the exact same gear as the previous fight where I showed off my gear. This will not be the case here because brand new party members just popped in. The legendary Kiryu Kazuma is here to do a double dragon. A game I have not no damage because fuck it is hard. 9 minutes into the video and I have said a swear word. You must be warned. This is not a game for children. Despite the fact that it has Roblox in the title, the lengths Roblox will go to be a piece of art, a piece of fiction made to be artistically appreciated has gone far beyond the realm of just children, because this Roblox series of no damage videos are all adult games. There will be much violence, there will be many crass words, crude language, and some sexual themes here and there. So if you are under the age of 18, you must be disbarred from seeing this video. And I must say, I really should hit up a thesaurus, because I'm not 100% sure if the disbarred is if that's the right way to use the word disbarred, or if the definition of disbarred is. I believe that the definition of that word was left behind, as in I don't know what it is. Here I'm going to do a weapon attack, and then the legendary Dragon of Dojima, who does not like that title anymore, is going to do a better weapon attack, and is going to show you how to be an actual cool beast. And I really want to get back to that first Yamai fight, because the placement of a save point, or rather what you have to do to repeat the fight over and over again if you fail the no damage, was just absurd, because the majority of this game is actually very fantastic about giving you a save point before every single big important fight. Before Roman here, this corrupt police officer, you can just save outside of his building so that every time you take damage you can quit to the menu, reload a save, and start over again. And you will notice the graphics of this game are absolutely splendid. It actually looks like you could play this on Roblox Live, and I have to mention, this is not a real game on the Roblox website. This is its own standard release. You have to buy this game on Steam in order to play this experience, this project. You cannot play it on the Roblox platform, I'm afraid. Some people might be confused. They might comment, what game should I play? This has happened many different times when I was no damaging the previous Roblox entries, the previous Roblox saga, and I have to always, I don't know if I always tell them. I think I kind of ignore the comments and I wait for someone else to break the horrible news to them. And here's a really fantastic dynamic sequence. Roblox Ichiban here is going to show off his wrestling moveset. I think he's doing a guillotine here. Ooh, some punches to the gut. I will tell you right now, some punches to the liver are some of the worst pain you can inflict on someone else. And grammatically, that sentence isn't the best way to say that, but liver shots are a fucking bitch. And I can tell you from experience, I've never experienced that. I just hear that from other people, from other boxers. The pistol skill there is not typically meant to be played out like that. You're supposed to shoot the ground and, make them kind of scared for their life, and then you'll shoot their foot once, and then you slap them with the pistol. But Kiryu, he hates the police so much, this corruption of police work, that he just kills him. He just tries to kill him, but he did not realize that Roman here actually has iron skin, so he was able to kind of survive getting shot in the face, in the legs, in the lungs, and in the liver. I told you, those liver shots are a real bitch, especially if you're being shot at. Not just like with a fist, but with a gun. But I feel like if you got hit by Mike Tyson in the liver, that might be very similar to getting shot by with a pistol. Give or take. I think he confirmed that. I think if you interviewed Mike Tyson, he'll tell you the same. I'm actually going to have to pray to RGG Studios not as a god, but more as I am pleading to them not to scan in Mike Tyson in their next game. Please do not mocap him. I can't fight him. He's going to be too strong, and I won't be able to no damage him in the Dragon release or the Roblox release. Roblox Tyson will be even stronger than normal Tyson, and I will be crying to myself because it will be too hard. So yes, Charlie XCS actually contributed to the Roblox project here. She allowed use of her music as a bit of a record scratch. I forgot exactly what that thing is, like a record drop. Martin Scorsese is very famous for inventing the record drop. And I am doing it all the same with Charlie XCX's music during this club fight. Though this isn't really a club, this is a fashion showcase. But you'll find that the club and the fashion showcases actually have a lot more interludes. Interlude is not the right word. A lot more like intercourse. Intercourse is, those are unnecessary sexual themes. I did not need to bring that up. They have interconnectedness. Let's just stick with that. And this interconnectedness could be achieved as long as I blocked the video in Russia. That was the one condition which Charlie XCX's record company had with me. That if I block the video in Russia, all her songs are available to use. Which is very strange. I actually wanted to say no to that, but every single one of her lawyer team, her record company, was completely strapped. Their youngest member actually had 2 revolvers attached to the hip. It was crazy. I don't know how they could afford all that, though to be fair, she's a very successful artist. I'm sure maybe she funded some of those guns. But I was very scared to say no, so sadly, if you are in Russia, you will have to use a VPN to watch the no commentary version of this video. My commentary videos are available in every single country. For now, I really hope that no presidents ban my videos in their countries. That would be very, let's say, against their goodwill, because I think these videos inspire goodwill. These GIMP monsters do not. I was warning you, this is a mature game. Here's the GIMP monsters. That one has blue underwear, that one has red underwear. We will be defeating them, so good will win in the end, will prevail. But these guys are very scary, so that was a bit of a jump scare. My bad, guys. So yeah, fun fact about editing the music for this fight. I could have sworn that during the fashion fight, this fight which we're doing right now, that when the light turns on at the very beginning during the dynamic intro, that a big sound effect would happen, but no. I misremembered. At first I thought the sound effect was gone because I turned off the music to add in new music in my Roblox experience. But no, that wasn't the case either. There just is no sound effect when the light goes on. It's just that the original music kind of hides that. This music, this new music in the Roblox experience also kind of hides it, but no big sound effect happens when the lights go on. I assumed a sound effect would happen, but it did not. The lights are actually very silent because this is a Mafia team, and the Mafia likes to hide. Well, I don't even know if the Barracuda can be classified as a Mafia specifically, but they're very good at hiding their heinous acts. They crucify people, and society just kind of ignores it because they're too strong. Like, their power level is just too insane, so we have to bring in the Dragon of Dojima to bring down the leader of the Barracudas, which we'll be fighting next. And the leader of the Barracudas might be the first fight where things are going to get a little bit technical. Though not too technical, he's still kind of easy, but I have a bit of a strategy. Right now you can see that I've already pre-equipped the Courage Pendant because he has a certain move near the end of his fight where he will make you very afraid unless you have the courage to wear that pendant. So here we have the real Danny Trejo. He is the real Danny Trejo in Roblox this time. Thankfully, in this Roblox version, he's still signed off to use his likeness for the game. Even though his likeness has been blockified, it is still him. This is still him doing all the movements. However, some of the facial expressions are actually not done by Danny Trejo in the original Dragon experience and in the Roblox experience. There was actually someone else who did those expressions. I believe it was the voice actor of A-chan actually did some of the mocap facial expressions for Danny Trejo's character, Dwight, here in the Dragon and Roblox Dragon experience. Alex Lee. He is quite a prolific figure. I believe he is the voice actor of the main character of Yakuza 6, Luke. Oh, I'm sorry, I got my 6s mixed up. The main character of Street Fighter 6. Now that definitely is Luke, so my bad, my mistake. So during this fight, you'll see that the Dragon of Dojima, the one who does not fuck with that name, just did a heat action, and that heat action can only be done in the brawler style of his Dragon of Dojima class. It's kind of weird. His class is called Dragon of Dojima. I mean, he's carried the title along for so long, and other characters also call him that. It's a very painful life he lives, this Kiryu Kazuma, and now he has cancer. They still kept that plot point in the Roblox edition. These are very mature games dealing with mature subject matter, like dealing with cancer and so on. Anyways, we're going to use this bullhead to beat the machete out of the man's machetes here, Danny Trejo. And something which I really want to show off in this fight is just a much more stylish gameplay approach, because I think one of my biggest regrets with my original Yakuza 8 No Damage was that it was 3 hours long, and the reason why it was so long was because I kept spamming summons. Now, the summon ability is very fantastic, especially for low-level gameplay. When I say low-level gameplay, I don't mean oh, you're low level, you're trash, bruh. I mean more like you're level 70 fighting a level 81 boss fight type gameplay. Though then again, I would say the strategy is still low level in the sense that you really shouldn't be spamming summons. You should instead be skillfully dodging attacks like I did with Chitose right there. That was a perfect guard. The timing of that, I'm going to tell you, it's very painful. In fact, the timing of that specific attack was a complete accident. I did not expect that attack to come out, and it came out, and I dodged it, and I got very lucky with my attempt here. Luck and just kind of gritting your teeth through it all is a big part of no damaging the boss fights in this franchise, in this saga. Some people don't like the word franchise because they have a lot of negative associations with other franchises and series and content and media, so on and so forth. The anti-art struggle, it is a shame, it is a shame. But yes, one of the things which I really would have liked to change about my original Yakuza 8 No Damage video is just not using summons so much. And in this Roblox 8 video, in this Roblox 8 experience, I actually found a way to not spam summons nearly as much. Now, this animation does take quite a while, but it is not a summon, it is a basic attack. And in my previous attempt, I would actually use this attack at the very beginning of the video to make him afraid, except this time I'm using it at the very end of the video, and it ended up serving no real purpose because the very next turn that Dwight gets here, he immediately gets rid of the fear which I inflict on him, and he tries to inflict fear on me. But remember, the foreshadowing I installed in this video many years back I got the courage to wear the pendant. So he is not going to be able to scare me, except one of my party members doesn't have the courage pendant, because so far at this point in my playthrough of over 200 hours, I've only collected 3 courage pendants. Now, can you collect more than one in one playthrough? I have not tested it out. I don't know. You're going to have to go on the wiki to really figure that out. But we're going to destroy Dwight right now, and the fight is over. And it is half the length of my first Dwight no damage, I believe. My first Dwight no damage was around 6 to 7 minutes. This one was around 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. So yeah, it is around half. And here we have our second showdown with Yamai, except now we have a party of 4. We had a party of 4 last time, not with Yamai, but with the previous fight with Dwight and during the Brat fight with the Brats. So I really want to go back to that first Yamai fight because I believe it has the worst placement of the boss fight, of a boss fight in the entire game. The second place holder is also a very particular fight, but that fight is near the end of the video, and the rest of the fights have reasonable save points where you can just kind of like go back to them. And well, actually I think third place probably have to go to the third Yamai fight because you have to reload from a chapter save point because the first fight of that chapter is the boss fight, and that will be coming up. It will be 2 fights after this one. It'll be a decently short fight because there's no big dramatic like dynamic stuff happening. I mean, to be fair, this fight also doesn't have any big dynamic like drastic stuff happening. I'd probably say the third fight is more dynamic than this second fight, so this third fight should be longer, but I'm actually not sure. This one and the next Yamai fight are actually quite short. But I am trying to be stylish here. However, I had a failed attempt where I knocked him into a car that actually ran him over. I uploaded that attempt to YouTube to kind of tease the fact this video is in production. And it was awesome, and I just don't do it in this one, and it is such a shame. But I do a lot of stylish stuff, a lot of like knocking enemies into other enemies. That's one of the most fun things which Yakuza 8 introduced from Yakuza 7, is just make melee attacks actually fun, make normal attacks actually feel powerful, because I think one of the worst things about the end game of Yakuza 7 is that melee attacks are completely useless and there's no point in doing them. The enemy is either going to dodge them or just take no damage from them. But in Yakuza 8, you can kind of blame this on the game being a little bit too easy, but I'm going to say that like making melee attacks actually powerful and like giving you incentives for like doing unique melee attacks, you know, like attacking them from the back, or you know, getting crits here and there, or doing combo attacks, or knocking an enemy into another party member so that the party member can also get a hit in there. It's all very, very useful stuff. And also, I think one of my biggest regrets with my previous Yakuza 8 video is that I had some wrong information. For one, this guy is not played by Dr. Han from the Good Doctor TV show. The actor is completely different. I got my facts mixed up and I kept insisting that this guy was Dr. Han, even though he is not. Dr. Han actually plays a completely different character in this game. He plays the infamous Ebina, who's a very controversial character. I'm not 100% sold on him, but more comments on him when we get to him. This is the Wong Tou fight, and this fight is one of the best in the game. It just has such a high energy encounter. The dynamic intro is probably the best in this game. I do think that the dynamic intros in Yakuza 8 are some of the weirder ones in the franchise. There's a lot of them, which is very commendable, given that a lot of the other games don't have a lot of them. They're kind of saved for like the last parts of the game, and like the rest of the game just doesn't have them. And there's certain games in this franchise which just don't have dynamic intros, period. So this game going out of its way to give a majority of its boss fights dynamic intros is very commendable. Like, I mean, it must have taken a lot of time to animate these, but I think a good majority of them kind of fall flat. I mean, there's still a lot of really great ones, but they kind of move like they're animated like action figures, which actually gives Roblox 8 a big advantage, given the fact that the Robloxian models are very much action figure focused. So I would probably say that the dynamic stuff works really well in this game. However, they forgot to account for the fact that the Robloxians are very huge creatures, and they can kind of block the frames sometimes. So the Roblox version of the dynamic intros have their own unique flaws, which are not present in Yakuza 8. And there's a thing I wanted to mention on my outline. The outline for this video is very short, which means I'm going to have to talk about other things which are not on the outline for a majority of this video. But if you escape the battle with Chitose in the English dub of Yakuza 8, she will say sayonara, which is a Japanese greeting for goodbye. So I don't think it would be called a greeting. It would be called a goodbye, farewell. There was a better term for this, and I don't know what it is. Court maintenance is one of the best moves in this game. I have to mention it because it gets rid of every single enemy's stats, any boss fight, and even if they try to escape the move, it's a 2 or 3 hit move. So the final hit will always get them, and when they don't get them, that means the game fucked up and you should blame the game and not your skill. And another thing I wanted to mention from my outline is just the friendship meters in this game, which will become a lot more important once you're able to do Kiryu's epic I fight you in real time move and Ichiban's epic friendship move. But something which I didn't fully notice until this playthrough is that If you do combo attacks, the friendship meter will fill up for both characters, so every time you perform an action, the little like infinite symbol on one of your party members fills up. So I'm going to shoot him in the leg. This is how the move is supposed to go. Boom, 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 boom. One shot in the leg, and then you you kind of like pistol whip them. Previously, like, he wanted to kill that police officer, so Kiryu did not do that move, but here he doesn't want to kill Wong Tou because he kind of respects him, because he's super rad, he has a nice vibe about him, he's chill. But his friendship meter will fill up every time he does one move. But if you do a combo move with another party member, both of your friendship meters will fill up. And also, if you defeat an enemy and knock them on the ground, and like someone does a kind of follow-up attack like Kiryu, both of your friendship meters will fill up. Boom, bam, pow. And this also means that when you knock an enemy into another like party member, their friendship meter will fill up. So you can actually like fill up the friendship meter of 3 different party members if you do that combination right there. Kind of like kick the enemy into another like party member, they'll hit the enemy on the ground, and when the enemy's on the ground, another party member will hit them while they're on the ground, and then your friendship can just be increased with maximum efficiency, which, to be fair, I don't know if you should be treating friendship as an efficiency meter. That's a little bit weird. Ichiban's like morals kind of left him. That's why his blocks model kind of disappeared for a bit there. He was forgetting who he truly was in this Robloxian world. He was being corrupted by evil. Speaking of corruption, I actually had to do 2 edits of my big no damage video. So once I edited all 2 hours and 6 minutes and selected every single song, and then exported that video, which took around 3 hours, then uploaded that video to YouTube, which took around 3 to 4 hours to complete, I found out that 2 specific songs blocked my entire video worldwide. And one of those songs was used for this fight in particular, so in the version that you're watching and listening to right now, I used a song which does not block my video worldwide, but my original song, I tried to use a song from the Devilman Crybaby OST called Smells Blood, but what I did not know is that the Devilman Crybaby OST was actually penned by certain associates of Satan. And the record companies want to hide this fact, so anytime you use that song in your video, they will block the video worldwide so that their evil cannot be exposed. And yes, that is horrifying. That is a horrifying fact. However, don't be alarmed. That is merely an allegory for the fact that Japan's copyright system is fucking terrible and just will kill you at any mention of, like, you know, trying to toy around with them. So I could not use the soundtrack from that thing. This is not the first time I've had issues with Japan's copyright system, especially when it comes to anime. They're some of the most deadly people you will ever meet. They may be one of the only people alive that are stronger than Mike Tyson, but only by a hair. And honestly, I think Mike Tyson can still squeeze out a win against Japan's copyright system. I believe in him. But if you are not Mike Tyson, do not fuck with them. Do not fuck with any soundtrack composed by the guy who composed Devilman Crybaby's soundtrack. It's not going to end well for you. You are going to die. Literally. And yeah, evil did kind of corrupt him a bit in this fight. Honestly, the cancer kind of spread emotionally, and it was just a very touching moment in Roblox 8 because they got over it quite well. And here are some of the sexual themes rearing their head here. Don't take that as a double entendre, I did not mean it as such, but as you can see, Yamai here, the Robloxian Yamai, is purple, and following color theory logistics, purple can be a seductive color, but he gets rid of all his seductive flair to fight Ichiban. It's very symbolic. You really should pay attention to the color theory in this game. There's a lot to learn, especially with the way they flash between different color themes, light and shadow. Light and shadow is a huge one in Yakuza 7, Yakuza 8. They mention it literally in words. A lot of Japanese games love dealing with light and darkness. Kingdom Hearts would like to rear its head over here. However, Kingdom Hearts is a game for children. It's got a lot of great themes, of course. I mean, children are going to enjoy the game quite a bit. Adults are going to enjoy the game quite a bit. But it is a game for children, while this game is not a game for children. This is one of my favorite moves in the game. I love how it looks. I never used it in my previous videos because it's a weak move. Something I want to do to be more stylish in this video is just use some of the less useful, like, utility moves. You know, moves that just look cool but don't deal that much damage just because they look nice. Because that move looks really nice. This one's also really fun. I love, like, the rhythm. It's boom, 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 boom. It's like you can, like, snap to it. I mean, if you can snap to that, that is impressive. You should, like, upload that to YouTube and, you know, just become famous instantly. Though someone might do it better than you. So the main strategy here is that we need to paralyze Yamai, and then we have to kill him afterwards. Except he won't die because he's a very strong individual, and he's going to get back into the fight. He's got a little seduction in him, and then boom. Immediately, no seduction. He locks right in because he is a fighter. He's truly a fighter at heart. And I would know about truly fighting at heart because I am truly fighting just how empty my head is while recording this commentary. Recording this commentary might be harder than any of the boss fights in this video. This is another move I really love. I never used it in my previous video because I would just use the better martial arts move. But like, that animation is so much fun, the way he does that kick. The only person who's going to do that animation is Taxi Man here, Tomi-chan. So no one else is going to do that move, but that move is amazing and I love it so much. I'm going to use it multiple times. You will see that move again, even though he is a samurai. He's doing a little bit of martial arts here. This move's animation is decent. You know, I love the splash at the end, but it's not the best. There's better water moves. I did a better water move beforehand. I love the music sync up here because he's going to knock him out. He's going to knock his lights out. He's going to knock the music out of his head, but you know, just my head being so empty, I don't understand it because I downed like 2 chocolate cappuccinos like beforehand, so I don't know why my head is just not filled with interesting commentaries or like insights to talk about the game. And may have noticed that Chitose there, she has words on her butt. What is that about? That is actually a very meta commentary thing. Well, maybe I should get rid of the commentary thing. Well, I'm going to provide some meta commentary. I believe those are the initials of the creator of Chitose's model in this game. Not Adam, he didn't create the model, but he did like arrange the model through like different parts in Roblox, and that part specifically was created by the god. A certain god figure created Chitose and decided to put his initials, or her initials, I don't know, or their initials, I don't know. Could be man, could be woman, we don't know, for sure. And here, Ichiban is going to do an epic dolphin move, but yeah, those are the initials of the god creature. God, man, woman, give or take. Let's not focus too much on godness because we are human beings at the moment and we will die. I'm sorry for the morbid reminder. That was a little bit mean. Look at the funny dolphins here. They're going to do a cool little kick move here. Boom. And they're doing spins as well. This is actually the first time I noticed that they actually spin. That's great. And I like how this moment also syncs up to the music with a little like camera pan out and just like cutting back to the real life here, because that is kind of like an imagination space that Roblox Ichiban can summon. And I mentioned that this video took 2 edits to make, and it's funny how the 2 edits I had to make were precisely 2 songs that blocked the video worldwide. I already talked about one of the songs beforehand, and the next song which blocked the video worldwide in my first edit is actually at the very end of the video. It was actually the very last song which blocked my video worldwide, and I'll talk more about that when we get there. But something else is that the mod itself, the Roblox mod itself by Adam, actually took 8 revisions in order to fully complete and reach its full potential. Because while no damaging this game, I was also kind of serving as a playtester. Pretty much like just testing out for any bugs, any moments where like the Roblox models didn't show up, I would hit up Adam and be like, could you please fix this so that the Roblox experience can be maintained? And he would fix it. And it took 8 revisions specifically for Roblox 8. Just fate himself. God has demanded that 8 must be 8 and 8 must 8. And I don't know where to go with that. I really wanted to do something with that, but I don't know where to go. This is one of the most useful moves in the game, especially against normal enemies because they can instantly be charmed. And if you would get beyond the what the fuck is she doing of the move is fantastic. It doesn't deal the most damage, but it deals pretty decent collateral damage, and it's very quick too. Another thing which I'm trying to do in this video is just do moves that don't take forever, so I tend to avoid the more cinematic attacks. Not always. I mean, I will do a cinematic attack here and there, but there's like certain cinematic attacks that take like an entire lifetime to play out, like the animation is just super long. I want to go for the more brief, cool ones to kind of keep pace, and also it makes it easier to edit the music together. Really love this fish move. I actually get so much mileage out of slamming enemies with that fish because a lot of enemies are weak to water, and the fish is really huge, and if you hit someone with that fish, it's gonna hurt. Like, ow! But yeah, no, those 2 chocolate cappuccinos, which I got from a specific machine that just serves chocolate cappuccinos, chocolate espressos. Maybe I should have just drunken a chocolate espresso, maybe that could have helped out. Or maybe I might have overdosed on caffeine to the point where I don't feel like energized, I feel like more tired. And there he leveled up again, and I had to show off my gear here. And here we're going to do a bit of a tone shift. Actually, no, we're not going to do a bit of a tone shift because we're actually going to go into another Ichiban fight. Actually, this would count as a tone shift because genuinely, I think from like this point onwards, the rest of the fights in this video kind of feel like a 3rd act climax. Like just like the hype is going to be too high. It's actually kind of overwhelming. Like I guess like the pacing of this game, like the first 8 chapters is like the first 33 minutes of this game's boss fights, of like this video's boss fights. And then like the rest of the hour and 30 minutes is going to be like full climax mode. Like every single fight's going to be like the end of the world. Like This is like, we're like fighting for the territory of Yamai, and then we have to do the final fight with Yamai. And then we fight Joe Sawashiro, and it's going to be the most insane thing ever because he's like one of the most epic figures ever. And then after that, we're doing like one of the final battles against like the robot machines, and like Yo Mama's going to be there as well. Literally, you'll see what I mean in like the next 10 minutes or so. It's insane. It's actually insane. This particular fight is also kind of annoying. Oh, I actually have a contender for 3rd worst placement of a boss fight, or maybe 4th. And now will be the final Yamai fight. Yamai has a lot of the worst placements for boss fights in this game when it comes to like reloading them and like doing them over and over again. Because in order to do the final Yamai fight, you have to do this fight again. So anytime you fail the final Yamai fight, you kind of have to like do this again, and it always takes like 3 to 4 minutes because there's a lot of like cinematic interludes that kind of drag things out. And they're very cool the first time, but when you're replaying this fight over and over again just to get to the final Yamai fight, holy moly, it is infuriating! Oh man, had to let it out. Had to let the beast out. Oh, and speaking of the beast, in order to fully edit this video, I had to get a new keyboard, and I ended up getting new keycaps. And I'm going to give you a quick warning here. These keycaps, they are green. But they're technically not the green you're familiar with. They're actually a much less threatening green. Just, you know, be prepared. They're not green. They're aqua green, which is actually a very nice color. It's actually a very nice collar. No, I don't own any collars. Color. It's a very nice color. And it does not deserve the extreme reaction which I gave it. So maybe I should have just saved that for like another time. I'm a really big fan of the way this dynamic sequence syncs up to the music, though I'm not going to let it play out because if I stop talking for even a second, my video here is going to get copyright claimed. It's a thing I've talked about with my other Roblox videos, but the no commentary versions, given the fact that I use certain songs that are copyright claimed, will get demonetized, those videos. I expect that. But the commentary videos, I found out that the trick is that if you talk loud enough over music that is copyright claimable, your video won't get copyright claimed because your voice is just overpowering any like system they have. So that's just the way this is going to work out. So I'm going to sync all of the game audio to be really, really low, and I'm going to sync up, I'm going to like kind of edit my narrative audio, I guess this is the narrative, this is the commentary, this is me talking, to be decently loud. Now this fight is actually pretty difficult in the sense that like I struggled with it for quite a bit because the whole strategy is defeat the enemies before they have a chance to move, and like you could maybe learn the perfect like Sea God talisman timings for these enemies, but it is a pain in the ass. They have very pain in the ass movesets, and there's not really a need to do it. What you want to do is pretty much just, you know, inflict a status ailment on the enemies. You can charm them, you can like paralyze them. I don't know, you can make them afraid, and also destroy them before they have a chance to move. But a lot of these enemies actually have like a decently big health bar. Like, I mean, a lot of the time there's like certain moves which won't instantly kill them like the second I use them, which is very annoying, so on and so forth. And going on from that point, actually no, the point I want to bring up is completely different. That I think I know why I keep mentioning God and like Christian like symbolism and imagery and, you know, Satan, you know, very Christian things, you know, Christian gods and whatnot. It's because the game is Christian in its own way. Like, it's got a lot of Christian like symbolism. I don't know if I want to call it symbolism or allegory. Let's just stick with symbolism because I think allegory might be reaching for the stars there. Like, Ichiban's kind of like a Christ figure in the way he wants to save all the Yakuza. There's also some Buddhism in there. Like, the final boss fight is kind of like a destroyer of, I forgot exactly what god the final boss fight is embodying from Buddhist culture. And like, even Kiryu is also kind of a Christ figure because he's taking on all the sins of all the Yakuza. You know who took on all the sins of the world? That's right. I was going to do a bit about being a youth pastor, but I don't really know how to continue that bit. Just watch the one Minecraft video where the guy's like, hey, welcome to the world of Minecraft. That's the one I was thinking about in my head. And yeah, I just really love this move. I especially love when I capture a bunch of enemies in it, like immediately all at once. Really, really dope stuff. Really, really satisfying. I do seem to be doing a lot of references in this video, and I don't know if I'm really doing jokes. I mean, I should be probably doing a couple more jokes. And also, I think that's one reason why the commentary for these Roblox versions is always so hard, because I have to be talking constantly. I can't, like, shut up for 1 second, because if I do, video gets... And also, I think with the Roblox videos, I think that my relationship with them in comparison to my normal no damages is a bit different, because I think, like, with my normal no damages, I'll do the no commentary, and then, like, you know, the commentary will be the version that I really put my mark on. But with the Roblox videos, I feel like the no commentary versions are the ones that I really put my mark on, and the commentary is just more an obligation I gotta do, because it is, like, the main thing with me. Love the monkey flip move, but once again, it's one of the weakest moves that Dachi can do. but it's also one of the coolest looking ones. It's like a whole ass like monkey flip. I love it. And Shadow Cleave as well. Most of the time you're going to do Shadow Dance because it deals more damage, but Shadow Cleave's animation is incredible, and I love the sync up here. Very nice. A lot of fire, a lot of death, a lot of maydays. Because like with the no commentary versions, I choose every single song and like I sync them up to the no damages. So like I create like the best no commentary experience possible, and the commentary kind of comes afterwards, and it's kind of hard to talk about because I've already said a lot of the things I wanted to say about the game in my original like Dragon experience like commentaries. So if there's certain things which I kind of left unsaid in this Roblox experience version, I would recommend also watching my commentary for my Like a Dragon 8 Infinite Wealth, even though there's no 8 in the Like a Dragon version because it got rid of numbers because they hate algebra. And so this scrub down move has like the same like, you know, buff removing properties that Court Maintenance does, but it's nowhere near as good of a move as Court Maintenance is, precisely because I love that I'm going to hit him with the fish here, just boom. Hit with the fish because he's weak to water. And yes, the strategy once again is paralyze him and then kill him, and he's not going to die because he's going to become our tenacious friend. I don't know if tenacious is the right word. I seem to be struggling with the words, and here's the other big water heat action. It does take quite a while. The water heat actions kind of take quite a while, and they have a very sunny vibe, so it's kind of hard to sync them up with music, and I don't even know if I did it correctly at this point in time. You know, vote in the comments whether this music sync hits or not. Little swim surf twister. I used to have a worse song on here. It was also another anime OP. But yes, no, I was talking about something completely different, the scrub down. So it's nowhere near as good of a move as Court Maintenance is, because Court Maintenance can hit an AoE property, it can hit multiple enemies, and it has a property of just not missing even if the enemy dodges it. But Scrub Down is a grapple move, and certain boss fights can actually dodge the grapple moves, like Wong Tou. So Scrub Down wouldn't be so useful against Wong Tou because you can just dodge it, and then boom, the buff removing properties just don't really work because you don't land the move. But you can kind of not land the move Court Maintenance, and it'll still land anyways because it's an incredible move. However, that tennis class is technically DLC, so using that move is kind of pay to win, so you know that's fucked up. Yakuza 7 also committed this sin, and Roblox 7 followed in committing these awful sins as well. And finally here at the Joe Sawashiro fight, and also with Kiryu's like section of the game, Infinite Wealth has such a weird pacing thing. I don't like the way it does dual protagonists. It just feels like too disjointed. And I just don't think the two stories meld all that well. It kind of feels like the game went through a big rewrite in the middle of production, and they just kind of like stitched it together, and we're here now. Like the pacing of having a chapter and then the other protagonist, like, you know, back and forth, just does not really work here, especially since it's done so late in the game and there's not that many chapters. You have like 7 to 8 chapters of like Kiryu and Ichiban together, and then by chapter 8, we're suddenly Kiryu's his own protagonist, but he only has like chapters 8, like 11. He only has like chapters what 8, 9. No, he has like what 8, 10, 12, like 8, 10, 12. And then 14, and then like that's it. And then like the final chapter, they both have their own separate dungeons, and it feels kind of rushed. This boss fight, by the way, I love the vibes. I think it's awesome. I mean, Joe Sawashiro is one of the greatest like boss fights of all time, and one of the greatest characters of all time. But his boss fight in 8 is really easy, like actually surprisingly easy considering how much of a threat he was in 7. And to be fair, you do have a lot more options in 8, which you did not have in 7, which makes this game a lot more fun to play. But all you have to do in this fight is just kind of like deal a bunch of damage to him, but like and pretty much get him to the second phase before he gets a turn. And to be fair, I did go eat at Zhao's restaurant, like Yutan, I think it's called, and that gives you a huge agility boost. And agility boost means a lot more turns for your entire party, which means you get to deal a lot more damage, not because you have more attack, but because you had more attacks to do. And it's really great and awesome. So you just keep doing that until you like lower his health bar to the point where he gets to the second phase, and I don't even think he reaches his second phase until it's his turn, so, you know, it's fantastic. And once he reaches the second phase, he's going to have to do, like, a mandatory power-up move before doing any dangerous moves, and then you kill him right after that, and it's awesome. And I would love to show off the dynamic sync up here, especially with, like, the guitar, like, really ramping it up, but once again, copyright claim, can't do it. QTE is really dope, though, and, like, the Roblox models are really going at it, though sometimes they're kind of going through the bodies. Like, Robloxians kind of have, like, this aura thing where, like, their bodies can, like, absorb some of the attacks, but if it's not hitting, like, their core heart, they won't take damage from it. So, yeah, it's very useful for them. They can be really big and imposing, but have, like, the hitboxes of a really small and imposing enemy or squirrel. I really wanted to mention squirrel. I don't know why. And he's going to break that box just by moving his ass into it. Okay. And also, I think like just the dual protagonist structure I don't really like, because I like when Kiryu and Ichiban are together. I don't know if I already mentioned this, but I feel like that dynamic is like when the game is at its most interesting, you know, with Kiryu as this sort of mentor figure and like Ichiban, like, you know, knowing things that like Kiryu doesn't know, you know, just like teaching him like new lessons, you know, like the old learns from the new learns from the old, so on and so forth. I'm going to make a JoJo reference, so, you know, prepare yourself if you fucking hate that shit. But like the relationship is pretty similar to like Jotaro and Josuke. Just like whenever they're like together, you know, you kind of have like the more fatherly figure, or just like the bigger brother, the older brother of some sort. And then you have the younger brother, you know, like they both benefit from like each other's presences, and they have like a nice chemistry going on. So when they both split off to do like their own thing, it's just not as interesting. Though I will say the beginning of Kiryu's section in Chapter 8, that's a fantastic chapter. I really like that. I like how they slow down. It's a great intro, but then as it goes along, I don't think it fully pays off. And I told you Yo Mama would be in this. Boom. Yo Mama theme for the Yo Mama attractors, because Yo Mama, I don't know what joke to make that. I don't want to be mean. But I want to go back to Zhao's restaurant, because when I was eating at Zhao's restaurant, there's like this thing, like after eating a meal with like your party, where they'll all have like a little comment to say, like, "Ooh, that was so good," or refreshing. Seonggi probably has the most disrespectful like comment to make. She's basically like, after eating at Zhao's restaurant, she's like, "This is certainly food. Like, what the fuck? This is guy's like a 5-star chef. He's incredible. Like, don't you have like, wow, this is not at least like, oh, this is good. This is good food. No, this is certainly food. Like, what the fuck?" And I guess she still has beef since like she was rivals with like his mafia in like Yokohama, so on and so forth. It was kind of like the big three, even though that's kind of split off and it's kind of a weird thing, and she's kind of taking hold of some of the Yokohama like lingumin and all that. She controls all of it now. I don't even know anymore, man. But just a weird ass comment. Like, why would you say that? And also, I've already said this before, but I'm just very glad I do not spam summons in like this no damage of Yakuza 8, Roblox 8. Like, I just found a way to not do that. And also, I was looking at my previous video, and in my Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth no damage commentary video, at an hour and 58 minutes and 40 seconds, I pretty much say that if I had to redo this video, I would find a way to do it without spamming the summon. So like, that's a citation from me, from myself, and I found a way to do it. Except I will use summons, but I'm just very glad that it was not for these tractors. Like, I'm very glad they made these tractors a lot easier than they were in Yakuza 7 and Roblox 7, because in the Yakuza 7 and Roblox 7, the big tractor thing was a fucking beast. It was actually terrible to deal with. Like, it had way too much health, so you actually had to like deal so many big damage attacks, like one after the other, after the other, after the other. You actually had to have like a full, like, good ass setup to like have any sort of chance with dealing with those things. In this game, they're piss easy. So like, if you spam summons and the most powerful moves, you'll immediately destroy them. So you can actually do some like lower damage moves and get away with destroying them before they make a single move, because anytime they make a move, it is kind of impossible to avoid them. Though maybe you can get away with doing some Sea God Talisman like perfect guards, because like the utility of like the Sea God perfect guards like is actually huge. I'm pretty sure you can probably perfectly dodge certain attacks those tractors do. That was not the case in Yakuza 7, but like in Yakuza 8 and Roblox 8 with the Sea God's Talisman equipped on every single one of your party members, you could probably dodge some of those things, but you don't have to. You can just kill those tractors before they have any moves. You're actually going to see some insane dodges like later on in this video. Like, well, maybe not near the end, but like in the final chapter of boss fights, which will take up, let's say, maybe like the last hour or so of this video. Like, those boss fights actually go on for quite a while. And here's the only time I'm going to use Soul Capture. Boom, I use Soul Capture. This boss fight has one of the coolest gimmicks in the entire game, where it just splits off your party to deal with two different sides of the room. That's awesome. I love that. I mean, it does kind of limit your options for each side of the room, but it's so cinematic. I mean, especially the way you enter it with a huge dynamic intro. And then boom, like, it's challenging, it's dope, it's refreshing. You know, it's a dope way to switch up the levels. And I mean, I mentioned this in my previous videos. I think I especially mentioned this in my no damage of all the dungeons and long battles in, say, Yakuza 7 and Yakuza 8, that Yakuza 8 actually does improve upon the dungeons that were present in Yakuza 7, because the dungeons in Yakuza 7, the main story ones, are actually pretty boring. Like, they're kind of like unremarkable. And in 8, there is a lot of things to just make them like more remarkable. There's like more set pieces like thrown out throughout them, more like fun combat encounters, just more flavor thrown about. Like, the dungeons have like their own unique themes most of the time. Because in Yakuza 7, what I forgot about is that a lot of the dungeons use the basic bitch like underground dungeon theme for a majority of the dungeons. You go to the Jiumang, dungeon, boom, basic bitch theme. What the fuck? What are we doing here? I mean, yeah, once you go to the Liumon like dungeon, you know, like the big like building on chapter 10, that has an awesome theme for sure. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of the dungeons beforehand did not have that awesome theme, so I was like, what the fuck? So Yakuza 8's dungeons actually having like unique themes was very, very cool. Even though a lot of the dungeons do have repeated themes, like the Yamai dungeon gets the same theme, the Seiryu clan in the beginning and the Seiryu clan and Tojo clan, they get the same theme, but it's a good thing that that theme is fucking awesome. I love the Seiryu clan theme in the original Yakuza 8, though they did change the theme in Roblox 8. It's not the same, but I think Roblox 8 also has a really huge banger. But like I said before, that was the last time I'll ever use the soul capture. This is the last time I'll ever use that move. And that move is just not that cool. It's just throwing a plate. What is this, Dead Arising? I really want to no damage the first Dead Arising one of these days, but I have to beat it first before ever thinking about a no damage. I mean, the only thing that gives me confidence that I could do a no damage is that someone else has also done a no damage video. So at the very least, there is like precedence. Like, precedence, I don't think that's the right word. There's like a precedent. No, there is a precedent, but no. There's like an established, like someone has actually done this before, so it's not going to be like an impossible task no one has ever done before. Someone has actually like established that you can do this, and it's pretty cool, and it's awesome. So we're going to try to paralyze this guy. I don't know if this is going to be the first time. Oh, boom, he's paralyzed. Hell yeah. Though we'll have to warn you, sometimes you'll paralyze an enemy, and it just straight up does not paralyze them. Like, they just ignore the paralysis. Like, very, very, like, ugly. Very, very, like, RNG stuff. Don't like that. This is the only time I'll use Grand Slam. I love how I just knock out the two guys and just throw them on top of the stage, but that is the last time I use Grand Slam, which is a bit of a shame because Grand Slam is an awesome move. And the collapsing chair, that is actually the last time I'm ever going to use collapsing chair. So, you know, roll the video back 10, 20 seconds if you want to rewatch that. This is going to be awesome. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. I knock him to the barrel. Boom. Jumps down. Lightning, like, kind of like puts him in place. Love that move. Just awesome. And also syncs up to the music beautifully. Oh, man, I'm getting excited. Yes. Rapid Fire Rally is also one of my favorite moves in the game. It's so aggressive. Like, she's constantly like beating the shit out of the enemy with the racket. It's just super fun to pull off. And it's fun to like knock other enemies into other enemies with that move. Also, something I found out while doing the final dungeon of this game is that enemies can actually knock you into their friends, and they can like hit you, and then when you're on the ground, another enemy can walk up and hit you on the ground the same way you can do it to the enemies. So that was like a really like scary encounter because the enemies can fuck you over the same way you can fuck them over. Well, that's not even true because you have advantage. You know, there's a lot of things you can do the enemies aren't nearly as good at doing because they're computers. So I saved my friendship meter for this moment. One thing I don't really like about this game is how this friendship attack and Kiryu's like epic I fight you in real time attacks are saved until like the second half of the game and you can't use them beforehand. And one of the things which made this even worse is that there was a demo for this game that came out that let you play Chapter 3, basically. And in Chapter 3, you get to fight the policeman, and Kiryu has the ability to pretty much fight in real time. But in the full, like, actual game, you don't get that ability until Chapter 8. So it's like, what the fuck? I really wish the game allowed you to, like, unlock that ability much earlier on. Or at the very least, have it much earlier on when you're playing on New Game Plus. There's just no reason not to have it. It's one of the best, most unique things about this game, especially in comparison to 7. Just being able to just fight in real time, it's awesome, and it just fits Kiryu so beautifully. Also, every single one of these QTEs, they have like this new interface, and I don't know why. It's like, they keep messing around with the interface. Lost Judgment had like a new interface, and like Lost Judgment's probably like the worst one, because it has all those like fucking button combinations you need to do. At the very least, this new interface is just button mashing or just like QTE events. Like, alright, I can get down with that. One of the weirder things about Yakuza 7 is that it barely had any QTEs. Like, there was literally only one, and it was at the final boss. So 8 makes up for it and just puts them all over the place. Though they're never too hard, and to be fair, do I really want them to be hard? Not really, no. I don't want to be fighting like Kashiwagi in like Yakuza 0 or Toki in Lost Paradise, even though Toki was an awesome boss fight. Really like that boss fight, but the QTE was fucking insane. It was so fast, especially on the hardest difficulty. But yeah, a funny story about the song I chose for this section. So I actually had this song choice idea in my head for the longest time, for like months on end. And like the reason why is because when I heard this song, it's like the credits song of like the Michael Bay produced live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. I thought it sounded exactly like the Barracuda theme, like the instrumentals. It had like similar horns or like drums or whatever the fuck. So I thought I might as well do a mashup of it whenever I fight this guy in particular, and that's what I did, and it just worked really nicely. So I'm glad that like my hopes and dreams I had like months ago actually paid off like months later once I actually got down to no damaging and editing this video. So that was really fun to see play out. And also another fun chapter 11 like tidbit. This is the most epic boss fight of all time. Oh my goodness, that's what I'm telling you. Like chapter 8 onwards, just like epic like finale boss fights from like that point on to the rest of the video to the rest of the game. Like it's like the game is ending on like every single like part, but it's not because there's still like a lot more game to go on. And it's kind of weird how the game does this, but then by the end of the game, you're kind of like, I wish the game had more to do. Like, it's like the final chapter just did not really feel conclusive to me. And I think a big part of that is that, especially for Ichiban, the main reason he's in Hawaii is he's looking for his mom. So like, once that's resolved, like before the final chapter, like what the fuck are we still doing here? It's like, oh, I guess I gotta go beat up Bryce, the fucking weirdo with like a secret island who's like making child soldiers. Like, I don't really give a fuck that, but Bryce kind of feels like a joke character. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know, what if Kiryu fought fucking Munakawa, Munakata in like Yakuza 4 type shit? I didn't like it. You know, it does not fit for me. To be fair, Kiryu does not fight Bryce. He ends up fighting a more Yakuza-style boss fight at the end of this game. But it kind of feels weird that Ichiban kind of gets, like, you know, settles with the fucking dumb, evil, like, businessman sort of character. That's the other thing. Fucking Bryce doesn't really believe in his ideology at all. He's, like, pretty much tricking everyone just to make a bunch of money and fuck over world governments. And it just isn't as interesting. I don't know. It's just kind of like, yeah, he's a piece of shit. And that's all it is to it. He has a lot of influence. A borderline cartoon character. And I think, like, a lot of the English pronunciation in the Japanese dub just doesn't really work for me. Oh, I do think his English voice is fantastic, though, in this dub. Oh, my goodness. The Roblox dub, he is incredible. Really, I think he really brings out that thread a lot more. And yeah, we're finally in the Chapter 12 fight, which actually requires, like, a decent amount of strat. So, like, what I really want to do is that before, like, Majima gets a turn, I want to, like, move them to the second phase. So I'm doing very particular attacks to, like, kind of, like, do an even spread of damage. And honestly, some of this damage kind of relies on luck, and especially if, like, the enemy stays in the exact position I need them in. So it is kind of hard doing this. And also be sure to, like, peep the stat boosts I have and the gear I brought into this fight, because that definitely affects turn order quite a bit. Just boosting agility, eating at Zhao's restaurant, very nice. But before I continue talking about this fight, I need to get back to the Chapter 11 long battle, because despite turning my music off, for some reason it started playing music at the start of the Chapter 11 long battle. I was kind of like, what the fuck? So I was like, do I have to turn off cutscene audio to get rid of the music? And I thought that's what it was, because I did that and the music, like, you know, went away finally. But then I started replaying it because I took damage, and what I found out is you have to, like, skip certain cutscenes to not let the music play out. It is very strange. Like, if I skip the cutscene introduction to, like, the machines in Chapter 11, the music won't play. But if I let that cutscene play out, the music plays for that boss fight, and it just kind of ruins my whole editing process. So, very strange thing that does not happen in the rest of the game. And here, I end up doing, like, a thing which just does not end up working out at all. Basically, that move like Namba does with the squid, it has a chance to blind the enemy, and when the enemy is blinded, their attacks for the most part will miss you. So it's kind of like Yakuza 7 strats, alright? And it worked sometimes when I was trying to no damage like Majima and Saejima and Daigo, but this time it did not work, and instead the strategy is just deal enough damage where they won't ever land an attack. That's pretty much the strategy. So I'm going to have to use two. This is the first time in the video where I have to use summons, and I use two summons, and I wanted to use, like, really appropriate summons. Like, you know, I end up using the MMA YouTuber quite a lot because this summon is really fast, and also it has Kiryu, like, actively doing something in the middle of it, so it's cooler to watch. And here for Komake, just, like, he trained Majima, so I thought he might as well beat the shit out of Majima, and I love the music sync when he, like, hits him right there. And this actually stuns Daigo, though to be fair, this stun isn't really going to matter much, because, like, once Daigo hits his second phase, where he gives everyone, like, a defense boost, he's going to get rid of any status ailments he has. So, like, if you want to do a status ailment on Majima or Daigo, well, you have to wait for Majima to summon the doppelgangers. And for Daigo, you have to wait for him to kind of, like, activate his defensive shield. And for Saejima, you're kind of fucked, because while Majima and Daigo have a move that they have to do every single time they enter their second phase, Saejima, once he enters his second phase, the big thing that he does is just attack you, so you have to avoid his attack if you want to do no damage. So instead of that, I'm going to actually, like, pretty much get everyone's health bar all the way to the bottom, just delete their entire health bar before Saejima reaches the second phase, so that once he reaches the second phase, we just kind of enter, like, the big, you know, Shadow Realm, the domain expansion sort of thing, where Saejima just doesn't get to attack, and he only attacks you in real time, and I just no damage that, you know, kind of like one of my other, like, real-time Yakuza no damages or Roblox no damages, so on and so forth. I hope what I'm saying makes sense, and that my footage kind of, like, you know, makes sense in that aspect as well. I do think there's a big elephant in the room I have not mentioned yet, and it has to do with Roblox lore. Why is Majima's grandfather not here? Well, I'm pretty sure I explained it in my Gaiden video, but to reiterate, Majima's grandfather is dead. The legendary warrior who defeated the assassin in Roblox 0 and who had a very heartfelt confrontation with Saejima in Roblox 5, he is nowhere to be found because he's dead. He has gone away peacefully in his sleep. He's not coming back, at least not to my knowledge. Who knows what they'll do with the sequels in this game? I mean, Majima's going to be a pirate in the next one. I think his grandfather might come back for that one. Who knows? But it all kind of depends on the spec of computers when we get to that point. And yeah, this is the first Roblox video I was able to record with an actual PC instead of just my MacBook like running Windows on Boot Camp or on the Steam Deck. So this is the best looking Roblox video. I mean, I probably should have mentioned that beforehand, but yeah, no. It is because of my wonderful PC. And it's lovely how I deleted like Majima's health bar on the final move. Like literally the final move, I like get his health bar down. And it's thanks to Namba's like fire breathing. Really, really love that. And as you can see here, the boss fight themes where we fought these opponents back in the past, where we fought Majima back before he realized his Roblox potential in Yakuza 4, in Roblox 4, it's here in this fight. That's a very nice callback. I mean, like, the original version of this fight in Yakuza 8 has a nice callback to Yakuza 4, and the Roblox version has a nice callback to Roblox 4 with Devil Trigger, the theme that played when he fought Saejima, Roblox Saejima back then. And Saejima's going to get a similar treatment, but it's going to be his Roblox 5 theme instead of his Roblox 4 theme, just because, like, Saejima doesn't exactly have a Roblox 4 theme because he wasn't a boss fight in Roblox 4. He was, though. He was, but his Roblox 5 theme did kind of fit better, and it just kind of has a Yakuza vibe. So here, we're fighting him with a Roblox 5 theme. Very, very nice. But yeah, no. Majima was able to learn all of his grandfather's technique from Roblox 0 and Roblox 5, and was able to take them for himself, like the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Majima finally learned the grandfather's secret and was able to pull it off right now, so yeah, very, very nice. And Daigo, we're going to fight him with his Roblox 4 theme, so, you know, if you've seen that Roblox 4 video where he was the final boss there, you'll know what music plays once Daigo enters his Domain expansion. And Daigo, Domain expansion, both of those things start with the letter D, so he's probably one of the, like, strongest, like, probably one of the most underrated, like, strongest Robloxians in the entire saga. Like the power level, like power scalers have not been doing justice to Daigo. He really does have a lot of strength and potential behind his stuff. It's just that his health bar is so small that I just do one full combo and it's completely deleted. And I decided to be a little bit more aggressive in like my hand-to-hand combat here. I kind of like avoid their attacks and then boom, I go for the full combo and boom, it's already deleted. He's down for the count. So sadly, the power scalers are going to look at this and be like, wow, Daigo's really weak. But he is probably the strongest of the three. It is crazy what he can do when, you know, he's unleashed onto the world. And Zhao's got a little bit of evil intent in his heart when he's a cowboy, so he just suddenly did not become Roblox at that point, sadly. And there's the gear I took for Majima. And I feel like I'm going to have the same gear for these fights, but maybe I won't. Who knows? Let's find out what happens here. And it's also really fun to be able to no damage these boss fights without wasting all of my infinite wealth, which I did in my original video. Like, there's certain boss fights where like the 9,900, like let's say the 9,999,999 like $1,999. Like, I would have to waste all of it to defeat some of the boss fights with the strategies I had before. But now I only wasted like what? 300,000 or 300,000 million? So on a 300 million like thousand of like my 900 million thousand or some sort. I don't know, saying that number out loud is very, very weird. Now this fight, the hardest thing about this fight is just keeping it stylish. Like, I really wanted to defeat these first two crowds like very quickly, and I think I did that decently well here, but there's like certain moments where like some of my setups did not pay off well at all, and I was like so upset that I just restarted the entire fight. But the final third phase is where this thing gets tricky, because like sometimes like the final boss of like these 3 rounds at the Tojo will just randomly like, you know, be paralyzed and then decide to move anyways, and it is infuriating and I hate it so much. I really, really do hate that like section. And here I want to use the hammer to defeat most of them, and sometimes like certain enemies kind of escape the hammer. It's like, what the fuck, man? Why would you do that? But thankfully, in this attempt, I did manage to defeat most of them, so it's just boom, basic attack, they're down for the count, and it's beautiful. In fact, this one is just a normal combo instead of a down combo, so a little bit of variety there. Just really love the energy of like this beginning section, and it syncs up really well with this like new Roblox music from the Roblox Dead Souls. Roblox Dead Cells just has a lot of hidden bangers that people don't know about because the game isn't available to play on PC unless you emulate, and it's PS3 emulation, so you actually need a powerful rig to do that, and not everyone does. Not everyone has one, sadly. I think I've reached the point of the video where I have nothing else to talk about. I mean, that's kind of been like the vibe for the entire video, but I've kind of reached that point now. And I'm just thinking about how, despite my issues with the story and the pacing and the structure and some of the placement of the side activities, I'd probably say this is still in my top 5 favorite like Yakuza games in the franchise, and especially top 5 favorite like Roblox games. Top 3? No. My top 3 is still pretty unshakable, but top 5, I think this might be an easy top 5 for me. It's just so much fun. Like, the combat system got improved so much. And I already really liked Yakuza 7 and Roblox 7 by proxy. So see, I got really lucky here because he decided to ignore the paralysis, but instead of doing an attack, he just does this little attack boost here, which allows me to kill him before he continues doing anything else. So yeah, really, really like that. I love that he made that decision, but I don't love that he ignored the fact that he's fucking paralyzed. He's like, oh, he's so strong, I'm gonna ignore paralysis? Dude, this is real life, dude. Wake up! Like, you don't just move when you're paralyzed. Like, my goodness, this is not an anime. But, yeah, no, I mean, one of my favorite things about Yakuza 7, I mean, I think I might have already mentioned this, but I love how when you're exploring the world, the entire map is blacked out. It means you actually have to go explore things to unlock new, like, quick travel, like, the quick location. There was a term for this, fast travel points. You know, the taxis and all that, and also just, like, know what you're in the map for. So, you know, it just feels so new and exciting. So that was true for Yakuza 7, and then like for Hawaii and Yakuza 8, that's still true because it's a brand new map. You don't know what's in it, so you have to go explore the entire thing, and exploring the entire thing also gives you access to like new fast travel points, and it's really satisfying. It just feels like a JRPG, just a turn-based JRPG just fits like Yakuza hub world structure perfectly. Like, they really should have done this like a lot sooner instead of doing like a fucking zombie like third-person shooter game. And here I'm going to grab him from the back and go, rah, and it's going to deal so much damage. Like, this is the fake Arai. This is not the Arai from Yakuza 4, the Arai that we love. This is a fake poser Arai who's going to have like a little sword clash results, which is probably one of the lamest ones in the franchise compared to everything else we've had. Like, we've had the Shindo sword clash, which is awesome. We've also had the one in Yakuza 0, which is also awesome. It was basically a callback to the one in Yakuza 2. I forget what other ones we had before that. Like, I mean, there wasn't one in Yakuza 4 or 5, was there? And, okay, Ishin's a big one, too. Ishin has some really awesome sword clashes. And then from Kiwami to onwards, I don't know if Yakuza 6 had a really great one. Did it? I don't know. So, like, those are all really cool, and this one's, like, kind of a callback to all those, but it's just not as cool. Like, just like I was saying, the dynamic, like, animations just, they're a little bit wonky in comparison to some of the previous games. Maybe, like the amount of animation that there are in the game kind of limited the team and just how cool they can make them because they had to make a bunch of them. So, give or take, just like the ones in the Judgment games were also cooler. Maybe it was just like different animation teams or like different mocap teams that kind of like limited their scope. Maybe it's just the turn-based combat team didn't have the best grasp on how to make the dynamic animations as cool as the previous games, like the hand-to-hand team. I don't know. I'm not a game developer. I'm not in that studio. But it's all very interesting stuff to speculate about. So if anyone is in that studio, please let me know because like that sword animation could have been a little bit cooler, but it is still like a nice little interlude for this big long battle in the game. And at least they're doing like something in comparison to Yakuza 7, which barely did anything. I mean, Yakuza 7, it kind of copied like the whole point-and-click adventure thing from like Judgment for one gimmick in the Geomon level. And that was decent, but it wasn't decent how like the basic dungeon theme played throughout that entire section of that level. They really should have had their own like unique dungeon theme, but they didn't, and it was sad. And the fact that you also have to do the underground Yokohama dungeon as a main story dungeon in 7, that sucks. And to be fair, you have to do the same thing in 8, but it just doesn't feel as official. And here we're going to fight the really fucking metal boss fight. So this boss fight is in 2 phases, and I actually had a decent bit of trouble in this boss fight, but the good thing is there's a save point before it, so you know it's not like the Yamai fights where you have to like do some bullshit beforehand before fighting certain like Yamais. This one is straightforward, you know, you just go into it, you know, at the save point and you go from there. I also found out a funny little detail, so if you enter this fight too quickly, and this also applies in certain other situations, there'll be like a little objective marker in the top left corner of the screen that tells you your objective, but if you wait a bit for that thing to go away before entering this boss room, then during the dynamic intro, those words will not be on the screen. And that's why you don't see those words on the screen during my no damage, because I waited for those words to go away, but it actually takes like a decent while for the words to go away. And like my main strategy is destroy everyone, and paralyze the only boss fight left, and if that doesn't work out, then we are fucked. And maybe pray that like your perfect guard timing actually works. I'm not going to be relying on perfect guard timings for my no damage here. I'm going to destroy everyone before they have a chance to attack, or I'm going to take advantage of the fact that like certain like boss enemies in this encounter, well, in the second phase of this encounter, will do an attack that isn't an attack and it's just like a stat booster or just like calling in more reinforcements, and you can take advantage of the extra turns that gives you to actually destroy the enemy afterwards. Like that little QTE there, I think one thing which kind of destroys these dynamic intros, like these dynamic sequences a little bit, is also the sound design. Like it's nowhere near as punchy as I would like. Like I need like more effective like sounds, because like the bullets ripping through the area, that needs to like be a lot louder than it is now. Like maybe not to the PS2 level of like wet squelches, but we just need a little something more, a little more pizzazz, a little more. Just a little bit more. And I don't know why you can only, I don't know why it is that you can only do a heat action when the enemy is stunned but not paralyzed. I feel like that's the same effect. Like if the enemy is paralyzed, Kiryu should be able to do a heat action, but nope, you can't. Guess not. I have always been wanting to redo like my all Yakuza games ranked video, and I guess like the excuse I've given myself is that I need to replay all the games before, you know, doing that momentous task. And the next game I need to do a walkthrough on is Yakuza 5, but I was previously already doing a walkthrough on Yakuza 5 where I was going to 100% the game, so I have to go back to that one after months on end, and I guess actually go out of my way to 100% Yakuza 5. And the reason I would want a 100% Yakuza 5 is because it's one of my favorites in the franchise. That game is in my top 3 of all the Yakuza games, and Roblox 5 is also in my top 3 of all the Yakuza games. So that's like a really important one to actually have like 100% on. It's also like one of the most massive games in the franchise. It just feels like the most massive game in the franchise. So having a platinum with that one just, I think, will be very, very satisfying. I just have to get around to it. The only Yakuza and Roblox games which I have a platinum in would have to be Yakuza 0 was the first game I ever platinumed, period. So here I'm going to do a war cry, then I'm going to do the Dragon of Dojima, like I'm going to attack them in real time to pretty much eliminate every single enemy and damage the boss fight a bit. So that's kind of my strategy here, and boom, substitution jutsu, just kind of had to pull it out for this time. And yeah, no. So Yakuza 0 was the first game I ever platinumed, and it was terrible because it took me 30 hours to get all the Mahjong achievements in that one. Ugh, dude, it was awful. I had to learn Mahjong in real time through much suffering with RNG computers. And then I platinumed Kiwami 1. I did all the trophies for the PS3 HD collection of the original Yakuza 2. And I got all the trophies for Yakuza 7, Yakuza 8, Gaiden, and there was another one which I forgot about. Kenzen, if reaching a Moan counts, which, you know, some people would say that does not count. And yeah, off the top of my head, I believe those are all the Yakuza games I have like platinums on. You know, like I unlocked all the trophies and whatnot. So that was some crazy. It's pretty crazy, and I want to do that with Yakuza 5 because it's one of my all-time favorites in the franchise. And like my top 3, it's like Yakuza 0, Yakuza 5, and Lost Judgment. I do not have the platinum for Lost Judgment or Lost Roblox, so I do gotta hop on that and do that one. And that's also going to be one which I think will be really fun to do, but that's like really in the future and not really that related to the video right now. But like I said, I've kind of run out of talking points. I don't know what to like yap about at this point. I mean, like the strategy here is just kill this guy. And, you know, like I got Poppy to do the soundtrack for me for this section. Very, very nice. And Bring the Horizon, I also asked him to kind of pitch in, and he definitely pitched in. So, you know, I'm glad that they helped out with the project. I was not expecting them to like pull up to like do music for the project. And Flicker of Light, I've done this move in the past. Actually, I'm not even sure if I did this move in the past in this video, but it's an awesome move. It deals nothing. It deals like no damage. I mean, not like no damage as in me not taking any damage, but more like the move inflicts like 0 damage. This move does a lot of damage. Ah! But like Flicker of Light, awesome looking move, just does not deal that much damage. So if you're going for only efficiency and not style, you would never do it. And here I'm trying to blind him. I don't think I ever like successfully blind an opponent in this entire video, but like it does work every now and then. In fact, I'm pretty sure in my original Yakuza 8 no damage, I actually did blind this guy with another move, and he tried to attack, and he completely missed, and it was awesome. But that is not what happens in this video. I'm just going to defeat him before he has a chance to do anything. It is pretty overwhelming though that basically the boss fights in chapter 12 onwards are the entire second hour of this video, and like chapters like 1 through 11 are the entire first hour of the video. It's like all the big meaty boss fights are at the very end of the game, and they make up like more than half of this video. Like, that is insane. It also just kind of thinks me about my process. I said it took me like around a week or so to no damage all the boss fights in Roblox 8. That is true, but like in the first day, I did like all the boss fights from chapters like 1 to 3. The second day, I did like all the boss fights from like chapters 4 to 7 or something. And then like the third day was like chapters like 8 to 9. And then like, I don't like, you know, and then like the fourth day was like chapters like 10 through 11. And like the 6th or 5th day, it took me the entire day to no damage all the boss fights in chapter 12 specifically, and the majority of that was me figuring out the Majima fight. That was actually very tough. I was trying to do it with only 1 summon, but I kind of gave up and pretty much just submitted myself to doing 2 summons, which is still like not that much. And it's like one of the only boss fights where I really do 2 summons, because it's like the only one that really requires it for like no damaging the way I wanted to no damage. And here this boss fight is really easy. Chainsaw Man, you would think there's more to him, but no. He is weak to guns, and if sometimes you'll do a move that is just like a hype move, and he won't attack you, and that's like the best chance you've got. And okay, the placement of this guy is annoying though. Pretty much like every time you fail this guy, you have to like redo the entire like I guess second half of this level to reach him. That is annoying. So he's got some Yamai-isms going on. He does not have a save point before his fight. So yeah. Very, very annoying to reach, but the actual fight itself is easy. He does not have that much health. You pretty much beat this thing in under like 2 minutes. And pretty much you're locked and loaded to go fight Dwight again. And it's going to be a little bit more serious, a little bit more exciting. Well, okay, the dynamic stuff isn't as exciting because all he does is like shoot a grenade launcher at you and like that's that. He doesn't even have a dynamic intro anymore, so that's a little lame. But it's fun that we get to fight him again. He just gets to have a little bit more screen time. The Danny Trejo, like character. Yes. And I think Chapter 13 also took me the entire day, but I think the longest thing I spent time on was just syncing up to music. I was actually having such a hard time choosing what song to use for Danny Trejo because I had to make sure it matched his vibe. I didn't want to use like some random Persona song. Like I had to like match something which really had like that Spanish flair. Because if it didn't, like I would have failed like the entire world. I really had to get something with Spanish flair. And the Romance Saga just had a really great song here. And the next song you're going to be really surprised by. I hope y'all are excited for it. So yeah, Chapter 13 took me the entire day as well. And then the finale, it took me like an entire day to pretty much do that entire section right up to the final boss of like the actual final boss, like of Kiryu's section. And then that part took me like 2 more days. And then after those 2 more days, I spent 2 more days editing the music specifically for the final 3 fights of this video. And then like I spent another extra day because my first edit got taken down because it was like blocked worldwide. And it was like, ah! It's a little early to be talking about the details of the final section when I'm only 1 hour and 16 minutes into my 2 hour and 6 minute video. But the move, the little spinning move did charm that one enemy, and Dwight is paralyzed, though his paralyzation is going to be pretty useless given the fact that once he hits his second phase, he's going to get rid of any, like, you know, boom, he got rid of his, like, stat negatives, like, you know, any status ailments. And thankfully, I was betting on him summoning more soldiers. I did not want him to do an attack. He instead just kind of did, summoning more soldiers, I'm going to take them out in this essence of breakdancing. And Jujing Han's really gonna kill it. And see, God has marked his butt too. He also has a name. Who is it? I don't know. I actually, spoiler alerts, I am not well versed in the actual Roblox realm. Though as a child, I did actually play in the Roblox realm. But like I said before, this is a work of art that is for adults and is not playable in the Roblox realm. It is its own separate entity that you need to buy by itself, sadly. If you were expecting to play it in the Roblox realm, this is not a game. This is art. But one thing which I think I had to mention a lot earlier is just the job system in this game, because it is so one-sided. Like, it is kind of an issue with this game. It's not one that bothers me too much, but like, I do think it kind of like limits your options, where basically the starter classes you begin with, like, you know, the classes which are like, you know, specific to each character, are easily the best classes, and like they're so they outmatch anything else. That's especially true for Kiryu. Like, Kiryu has the best class in the game. The Dragon of Dojima class just has like the most amount of options. You know, you have knife skills, grappling skills, stunning skills, like fucking punching skills, knockback skills. And you have 3 different melee styles. Like, what the fuck? No other style has that. It's way too OP. Like, fuck, don't you even have a fire skill in the Dragon of Dojima class? Okay, I think that's like the one thing you don't have. But besides that, you basically have every tool you need with the Dragon of Dojima class, and you don't need to fuck around. Like, just the beast, like, combos themselves, like, the beast attacks, the beast normal attacks are so overpowered, you don't need anything else. Even Ichiban, like, the hero class, super OP. Chitose's main class, super awesome. Tomi's class, fucking, like, all the different elements at your disposal, and, like, debuffs out, like, and a bunch of cool debuffs. Fuck yeah, though I do end up using the samurai, because the samurai class is really awesome. And, well, the tennis and ninja classes, like, are also really great for, like, your gals in your team. So, those are really cracked, but, like, besides that, the main, like, you know, character classes are just so awesome that you don't need to fuck around with anything else, really. Jujin Han, I mean, Jujin Han comes so late in the game that there's no point in using him. And the only reason that I'm using him right now is because I wanted the character with the highest agility possible for, like, the final boss fights for Ichiban. And since I've beaten this game like 3 or 4 times, like each, and like every time I like grinded a little bit more everyone's levels, I finally like grinded like Jujin Han to the point where I can actually use him at the end of the game. But like in my first couple no damages, I did not use him because it would be way too much of a pain in the ass to just grind him for these final sections alone. And I love the way the music syncs up here, but I can't stop talking. And another thing I have to talk about with the job system is just at this point in time, I'm pretty sure for this Roblox video, pretty sure I have nearly every single job at like at like 99 like, you know, level. Not every single one of them though. I remember for like Zhao, I don't have all his classes maxed out. For Ichiban, there might be like 1 or 2 classes which are only at like level 80 and not like 99. For Kiryu, basically every single one of his classes are at every single one of his jobs is like at level 99. So he's super maxed out. I maxed them out a lot more than I did in my first Yakuza 8 video. Okay, one thing I have to mention because people might get confused, there was absolutely no cheat engine involved in the no damage of this game. Everything I did was purely legit grinding and like, you know, hauling my own ass through the game. Yakuza 7, that's not true. I had to like boost my agility to 9,999 to like have a chance to no damage that game on Legend. But for Yakuza 8, you don't need to do any cheat engine stuff. You just need to kind of grind your ass off in the fucking dungeons over and over again. And also replay the game multiple times to get all the Sea God talismans and also get enough money to do a bunch of summons in a row. So it's all legit stuff, and I'm very happy that like Yakuza 8 actually allowed me to do every single boss fight and secret boss fight in a legit fashion, because Yakuza 7, that wasn't exactly true. So yeah, no, just felt like mentioning that. That is actually a very, very important thing to mention, because I don't show all my jobs every time I show my gear. I only show my gear. So hopefully for my gear and like stats, which I show, you know, at the end of like every boss fight where I want to show off my gear, it's self-explanatory enough what setup I went with, and you can kind of infer the rest of the details, all right? Yeah, I'm going to record the rest of this commentary tomorrow. I'm glad I'm releasing this video Friday and not today, which is Wednesday. Actually, I'm releasing this video Saturday. Friday is the no commentary. All right, yes, recording the rest of this tomorrow. Bye-bye. And yes, I am back. It's Thursday. I'm recording this commentary right now. And I'm just thinking about Danny Trejo's filmography because I haven't really seen much of it. He's in Heat. He's like in the 1995 like Heat movie. I think there might have actually been a Heat movie before the Michael Mann one, but I'm not 100% sure. Also, this little summon with the urban hospitality maybe wasn't necessary, but you know, it syncs up to the music pretty well, so alright. But to choose music for Danny Trejo's final fight, I did kind of have to like dig into like movies he's in, and I found out that a certain song from Once Upon a Time in Mexico actually fits very, very well. And I really wanted to use like the beginning song of Desperado, but I really couldn't like use it by itself. I had to like mix it with something else because the song is just way too short. And boom, there's a perfect guard timing, which I kind of really wanted to do because, you know, in the previous fight I ignored that ever happening, like allowing him to ever do a move, so actually getting to dodge it is really, really nice. Editing the music to this part was probably one of the most difficult parts of the video because I really had to like get it down pat, because if I fucked up like Danny Trejo's final fight, I was not going to be happy about that. But yeah, no, I'm happy I kind of like locked in, did everything really, really well, and yeah, no, it's really, really nice. I'm going to have this instant transition to the shark, and I'm very happy with the way I handled the shark here, because like before, I defeated the shark before it could move once, except this time I actually dodged one of the moves the shark does with my entire party. I really wanted to pull this off in a no damage, because like previously, when I was like experimenting with the fight in like my previous no damage videos and like Yakuza 8 and all that, I successfully like dodged this shark's attack with my entire party when I was not recording and wasn't trying to do no damage, but then in my no damage attempts it was always impossible. Like I would actually land the perfect guard timings, but only Ichiban would dodge and the rest of the party would just get fucked, and it was so upsetting. Like I recently found out that Danny Trejo was actually a voice in the live-action Dora movie that came out a couple years back, where they're all like adults or teenagers or something, or like they're all grown up. He's like the voice of Boots, Boots the monkey, Boots in Puss. No, that's Puss in Boots, but Boots is a different character. It's the blue monkey. Danny Trejo's just kind of that voice, and he does like this big little scene where he talks to Dora. And see, here's what I'm gonna do. So I perfectly timed it, and like my party members were all like perfectly in line to dodge everything. Like that's just very rare. If you actually land the perfect guard timing with the Sea God's Talisman and all your party members don't dodge, don't worry, that's not your fault. That's just bullshit RNG, I'm afraid. But it is possible to dodge the attack once with every single party member. It is possible as long as they all have the Sea God's Talisman equipped. So yeah, like the little like lesson which Boots gives to teenage Dora, even though I don't think the actress is a teenager that plays her, but you know, a lot of the time teenagers are played by adults. Twin Peaks, Euphoria. Not the last time I mentioned those two shows when talking about Yakuza 8. They just seem to come up. Yeah! He gives, like, Boots gives Dora a lesson, which is pretty similar to, like, the lesson which Kiryu learns in this game to, you know, not rely only on himself, to rely on the people around you, your friends and all that. Anyways, we're going to fight the cult here because they tried to burn my house down. And in the edit there, I really wanted to include the burning house because when you fight these guys normally in Yakuza 8, there really isn't like a dynamic intro of the burning house, despite the fact that the burning house is a huge part of the fight. I mean, hey, the burning house exists in the fight, but I feel like escaping the burning house maybe should have been a dynamic intro. I guess we'll see that once we get Yakuza 8 Kiwami. Oh, fuck, trying to do a creepy voice there fucks me up and gives me hiccups. That's not good at all. I ran into a really annoying issue in this fight, though. Basically, there's things that can explode in the environment, and the exploding things are very inconsistent on whether or not they damage you. And oh, fuck, I actually gave myself hiccups. I'm going to have to stop the recording and fix that real quick. Okay, I think it's fixed that right now. And see, boom. So I just fell off of an exploding barrel, but it did not damage me. But there's been certain situations where I'll attack an exploding barrel, and for some reason, my character will get damaged. Like, Tomi-chan here, he got damaged a few times when, like, an exploding, like barrel just exploded while he was doing, like, his big Cyclone of Death or Cyclone of Idaho or whatever it's called. Like, it would actually damage him. Like, what the fuck? It's very inconsistent. So, if you run into a situation where, like, some of these barrels explode and, like, some of your party members get damaged, don't be alarmed. That is the game's fault, not yours. So, rah, right? But besides that, you'll notice, hey, Ichiban is in red health. Why is that? Because I get certain bonuses for Ichiban being in red health. It's something which I took more notice of during when I was like no damaging like all the long battles and dungeons in Yakuza 8. But the reason why I didn't have Ichiban in red health during this specific long battle in that specific video is because there's certain moments in this long battle where the game will just automatically heal Ichiban up completely. Like, after fighting the shark, Ichiban will just be fully healed up, and you know, you just can't really damage yourself while doing a one-take run of the dungeon. But since this is only the boss fights, and it's only select encounters, I can actually lower my health before reaching this point in order to get Ichiban to the really low health. Because Ichiban's hero class has a specific piece of armor where if you're at low health, you'll get like stat boosts pretty much at the start of your turn, at the start of Ichiban's turn every single time, or almost every single time. And like, yeah, that's one of the most useful things to take advantage of. And since I'm never going to take damage, you know, it's high risk, high reward. It's like, fuck yeah, it's a net positive for me given the fact that I'm already going to take no damage. So I might as well be at red health. But it was a bit annoying to set up because I had to take a bit of damage from the other enemies, and it kind of takes a while because the enemies don't deal that much damage. Oh, no, actually, wait. I'm lying out of my ass. There's actually a really fantastic way to lose most of your health. It's the mines. It's the mines around the map. I knew there was a really smart way to do it because I did exactly that. So if you just run and bump into every single mine that's like placed around this level, you'll lower Ichiban's health enough to the point where it actually hits the red and you get the bonuses. So yeah, if you try to lower your health by just waiting for the enemies to attack you to the point where you reach red health, it's never going to happen because the enemies don't deal enough damage for it to be like a viable and quick solution. It's running into the mines that actually helps out a ton. And then you just keep it like that. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful system. You just go to the island and like the one hazard they want you to avoid, you just run straight into that hazard and it's just, oh, it just works out so nicely. And boom, you just charmed this big boss fight here. Doesn't have that much health, but it's still kind of a threat if you let him do any attacks. So yeah, boom. He's charmed, and now we can spend the rest of our time defeating the other enemies around the map. What move am I going to use? Or I'm trying to see what I'm going to use Giga Swing. And here I'm going to take a bit of a while to set it up because I want to defeat both of these enemies at the exact same time. So I'm trying to push this guy into the other guy, and like Yakuza 8 just improves on the combat system so much because like Yakuza 7 barely gives you an indicator of like, you know, how your attack is going to affect the enemy. You kind of have to like roll the dice and guess. And there still is a little bit of guesswork in this game, but there's also a ton of stuff that kind of like lets you give you a better idea of how your attacks are going to work out. And I love how that one big fish defeats that guy like completely. You know, like if your attack like goes in a straight line, the game will tell you where that straight line is going to go. And sometimes the game will break its own rules, but for the most part, the attack will go in that straight line and it will work most of the time. So there still is a little bit of guesswork in it, but it's a lot less guesswork. So yeah. For this fight here, I'm going to use one summon, and it's a summon which I've been avoiding for the rest of the video because it's kind of a long summon, but I feel like in this fight specifically, it thematically fits very, very well. I mean, I'm going to do the summon like at the very end of this fight, so you know, we're going to have to wait to actually reach that point. And I do believe that this song may or may not be copyright claimed. I'm going to have to like check my YouTube on the no commentary version just to double check that like this is a song I can stop talking during. But yeah, no, so this fight, it's pretty dope, and it's kind of like weird how there's an entire phase of the fight you can just completely avoid if you kill the tentacles fast enough. And normally I always do that because like I think you literally have to try to die in order to like get to the phase where like the squid eats you in a very weird and uncomfortable scene. I love that move where he just like does the kung fu and all, the flying monkey kick strike. It's awesome. And here I'm going to shoot the squid with guns. And since the squid is too big, it's actually not going to show up in this little cinematic. He's going to be shooting at nothing, basically, like Jujing Han here. And you're just going to have to like infer that all those bullets went inside the squid. It also makes the animation shorter, which I appreciate for like syncing up with music. Okay, so I figured out that it maybe will get copyright claimed, as in it will maybe demonetize the video if I stop talking, because in my first edit of this video with the two songs that blocked my video worldwide, this song actually got marked as something to demonetize the video. But in my second edit, I'm looking through the things and like my little copyright claims thing, and it isn't marked in my second edit, despite the fact that the song is in the exact same place with the exact same volume. So I don't understand. It's kind of weird. So I'm just going to keep talking through this beautiful little sync up with the sea creatures fighting the other sea creatures. But yeah, like the thematic relevance of like, you know, the little crawfish. And that's not a snail, that's a hermit crab just coming together to defeat the big squid, which usually eats them. Very inspiring story, especially for the Roblox saga, you know, going from rock bottom and all that. Very much an animal for Ichiban to use to further like show that there is hope still in the world. Very, very inspiring like story there. But yeah, no, so I did have to use one summon to avoid one attack from this squid. But I still feel like with the shark, you can still dodge some of this squid's attacks if you like time the perfect sea god's talismans, like perfect guards, like perfectly. And if your party members are positioned in the exact same way possible. Also, I think you can maybe avoid taking damage if you get eaten by the squid if you have a certain item equipped that maybe like stops burns from happening, but I did not experiment with that. But that would be a really funny thing to do. But in order to even get that far, I'm pretty sure like the squid would have to attack you at some point, and if you let the squid attack you at some point, that's just not really going to work out. And here is Bryce, and he's probably one of the most villainous characters in the entire Roblox saga because he was originally the teacher of Minecraft Steve, except he killed him because family made him weak, and he sought to be the ruler of all the realms of Roblox and Minecraft specifically. He's also the creator of Minecraft Kuze Steve and his evil doppelganger Hero Brian. It's all him. Bryce did all of this. He commands the human realms, the dragon realms, the Roblox realms, and the Minecraft realms. One of the most disgustingly evil like characters in the entire saga. As for my strategies here, you typically want to like destroy the enemies fast enough that Bryce doesn't have a chance to like throw a grenade at you. However, I messed that up in this attempt, except I found a way to avoid the grenade. And for some reason, when I avoid the grenade, I expect the grenade sound to play, but no grenade sound plays because when you do the perfect guard parry of the Sea God's Talisman, I guess like all sound cuts out. So it just looks like a very underwhelming like explosion. Like they forgot to like put a noise there. But no, you can dodge it, and it's really silly. But it was beautiful for me. Like I was able to like use the Sea God's Talisman at least one time when fighting Bryce. The Devil's Twister is also an amazing move where if you're only fighting with efficiency in mind, you're never gonna use. So it's really, really sad. Because it's such a cool looking move, but like it's just not the most efficient out of everything you have in your inventory. So yeah, like all your moves are just kind of there for fluff purposes or for leveling purposes, or it's like, yeah, in the beginning you're only going to have access to a couple certain moves and you have to like level up more to get everything else, kind of an incentive to level up more. But like, once you have everything unlocked, what's the point in using it? Well, because it looks cool. See, I perfect guard parried that attack, and I had the Sea God's Talisman, and that's what that looks like. But it is kind of weird because like literally no noise played when that grenade went off, and typically you're supposed to defeat all the enemies before we even get to that point. But you know what? In this run, I reached that point because the raining arrows did not kill both enemies at the same time. Raining arrow is such a cool move, but also like so random. Like that's like the whole point of it. It's a random move. Sometimes it'll defeat the enemy, sometimes it won't. So you can never really rely on it, but like it's so cool, and like it just fits this climactic setting really well. And here, I use this big epic move. Will this be the last time I use that move? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, really. I actually forget myself. And here's like the first time I used the essence of Full Swing. I mean, it is Ichiban's final boss fight. I feel like it fits. Like, it is really crazy how, like, in this Roblox version of the video, I fight basically every single fight I fought in my Yakuza 8 no damage video, except this video is like nearly an hour shorter than my Yakuza 8 one, precisely because every single fight I do is leagues shorter than the ones I did in that previous video, because I mostly avoided doing summons. In fact, in this Bryce fight, I don't think I do a single summon once. I mean, I do these really big, dramatic, cinematic moves, which I guess maybe you could count as summons, but no, I don't really do summons. I just do like these big cinematic moves. And I was able to actually defeat Bryce without taking any damage, so very happy about that. I didn't even use the laser move. I was actually expecting to use the laser move at least once, but that one also kind of takes a while and is like a little bit like overdone, I don't know. But yeah, I didn't do it, so very, very happy about that. Got to use more unique moves for like this big epic no damage. And here I'm trying to like do a smart one. I'm trying to do court maintenance, and like when she pulls it out, that also damages the enemy. And it was actually able to defeat that entire enemy in one go here. So it was this epic court maintenance like maneuver, which allowed me to avoid another grenade in the second phase here and just quickly go on to the third phase. For the very ominous introduction to the third phase there, which shows just how ruthless and heartless the Roblox Bryce here really is. Really, this might be the main villain of the entire saga. Like, even like Roblox Ebina, like villainousness does not compare to the shit which Bryce was gonna do here. Though Roblox Ebina is still trying to commit like a Yakuza holocaust, but he does kind of have like reasonable motives because the Yakuza are fucked up and evil. Like, Bryce is so evil, he actually almost managed to resurrect Clampan Junction, Paddington's evil doppelganger from Roblox 5. He was amassing all the nuclear waste to bring him back, the Claphamp. And with him, Minecraft Kuze Steve's doppelganger, Herobrine! Oh, fuck. And one thing which really surprised me about his fight is that this version is the exact same length as the previous one I did before, except this time I'm not spamming summons, but I do kind of regret spamming this taxi move. The reason I did this taxi move is because it has a chance of making Bryce scared. And if Bryce is scared, that'll give us a couple turns to pretty much just endlessly defeat him without him ever attacking back. His first and second phase attacks are super deadly because they're basically all AoE. They're not impossible to no damage, however, or like dodge or like perfect guard like, Sea God Talisman King parry. Because I've actually done it before, but when I did it, the status ailment of being burned was still applied to every single one of my party members, and I got super fucking mad. I actually made it one of my how to fail videos, so if you look in that playlist, you'll find what I'm talking about, because like you can literally make your entire party dodge like a grenade blast, where he like drops 4 grenades, but if you don't have a certain item equipped, you're still gonna get burned, and the next turn, you'll take damage from the burn. It is infuriating. It fucking sucks. So instead, since the fear tactic did not work on Bryce, I am instead going to try to paralyze him with like the jelly juice and the grenade, so on and so forth. Paralyzing boss fights is so fucking inconsistent, but it's like the most inconsistent thing with the final boss specifically. Holy shit. Like, I mean, my footage of Ebina does not communicate just how much of a pain in the ass it is to actually paralyze a boss fight in this game. Especially when they get paralyzed and they just fucking move anyways. Because it's a fucking piss take to paralyze them in the first place. But like, imagine getting the rare chance of actually paralyzing them and then they just move anyways. That shit was infuriating, and I had to deal with it with Ebina. Holy shit. Not so much with Bryce, honestly. I mean, yeah, I did take a couple electric throws, but once I had it down pat, it was down pat, and now he is down for the count. I'm going to like slash him up real good. But don't become complacent, because every now and then it could either be like 2-turn rotations with Bryce where he gets out of it, or 3-turn rotations. So, you know, always be prepared to kind of like strike back. I love how Tomi-chan here like kind of just jumped right in with a sword slash when I knocked him down with the knockout combo. Love that a bunch. So yeah, the whole strategy is try to make him afraid, and if it doesn't work, kill every other enemy in the room with your friendship attack, and then paralyze it. And boom, we even do the flying monkey strike with him. Oh, it's so cinematic. I'm very happy I got to do all that. And, you know, if I'm going to do all my big cinematic attacks here, it might as well be with Bryce. He is the final boss, but the fight lasts about as long as my previous attempt, around 9 minutes and 42 seconds. Maybe a little bit overdue, over long, but, you know, not too bad. It is a 3-phase fight. The first and second phase take around 4 minutes. The third phase takes around 4 minutes. Not the worst thing in the world. The amount of time I saved with my new Ebina fight, though, I was expecting to take 5 minutes, but I actually took around 7 minutes, which is a little weird. And I was like, oh man, did it last the same amount of time which my first attempt took? And no, because I actually forgot that my first like no damage attempt of Ebina took like 12 fucking minutes. I mean, mind you, I should probably be talking about that when I'm in the last like 7 minutes of this video, but like I'm actually surprised by that. What the fuck? I was misremembering, because when I refought Ebina and like when I was like doing the entire final level of the game in Yakuza 8 in one take, I did a much shorter fight, and to be fair, also it was very cheap. I skipped a lot of animations. Like, I want to keep my fights here more brief, but I don't want to skip the big animations. I just feel like that would be a little bit weird. I think the only animation I skip is if I ever use a summon more than twice, the second time I use the summon, I'll skip the calling animation. But beyond that, I don't skip animations here. I just use animations like more briefly and more succinctly than I did before, because beforehand I was using animations all the fucking time. And when I say animations, I mean more like the stuff where, you know, you do a big move and it just cuts to like a cutscene in a different realm. I mean, every single part of this game is animation. This surfboard move, that's animation right there. So I'm not talking about those animations. So I hope you understand what I mean by that. Boom, the rapid fire rally. When I was looking over my footage, I thought I did this move twice in a row in this fight, but no, this is actually the first time I do this move in this fight specifically. And then boom, we cut to the third phase, and he's fucking pissed because he can't be the most evil motherfucker ever like born in the Roblox realm. And we get to just actually kill him. In the Roblox version, we actually just fucking kill him in the most brutal and painful way possible. While in Yakuza 8, he kind of saves him for jail, but that is not what happens in the Roblox version. I told you, this is an adult game. It gets really fucking graphic. Bryce's death, holy shit. Like, it outdoes the death of, like, fucking Herobrine in Roblox 5. It outdoes, like, just so many different Robloxes. It's the most graphic Roblox death imaginable. It's so graphic, I cannot show it to you in this video. It would get my channel strike down.
It's over, Bryce.
I gotta repeat that, like, a majority of this video, like the last hour and a half, just feels like a huge climax. It's like everything the world is ending. It's like the hugest crowds ever. They have to like defeat everyone there. It's crazy stuff. And also, when I said that I would basically fight every single fight in Roblox 8 that I fought in Yakuza 8, that's not entirely true. There's 2 fights which Roblox 8 got rid of for pacing purposes. The 2 fights being the second fight with the men's vice like thing. That little like subplot kind of got like neutered a bit in Roblox 8. And the second fight that's not in Roblox 8 that was in Yakuza 8 is like the one where you fight the guy who like curses your entire party to die in the Millennium Tower. That fight is not in Roblox 8. They kind of removed that to make the pacing of the final tower level in the Roblox version specifically like a little bit quicker, a little bit more like snappy, to kind of go into the more techno like futuristic vibe that they're trying to like emphasize more in the Roblox version. So yeah, no, this fight I really wanted to get this done without spamming like the dragon move as much, and without spamming summons. In fact, I don't think I used a single summon in like this fight, and this fight includes this outside portion and the indoors portion. I decided to include them both. They feel very connected as one fight. So yeah, I only used the dragon move I think once in the indoor portion, but in the outdoors portion I try to just use my party members like more often. And this does kind of remind me of like the little group fight where you team up with Yamai, because if you don't defeat every single one of these enemies before they have a move, they're going to be very annoying to dodge. So, you know, stun them, make them like charmed, and just kill them before they have a chance to do anything. And this move is so frustrating because she's going to miss the final one. She explodes a motorcycle, but she doesn't actually explode the enemy. I fucking hate this. And I should probably mention that the one fight you have with the cult in the burning house, that probably should be, that has like one of the worst save point placements in the entire game, because if you fail that burning house fight, you have to repeat the entire level up to that point to reach that fight again, which means you have to destroy yourself with mines again to get your health at that low all over again. So that one deserves a spot in like top 5 worst save point placements in the entire game. So there's a couple of these that I forgot, but like as I'm watching this video, I'm remembering them. This one's really nice though, because it's the beginning level. So, you know, you literally just reload the save before you enter this level, and then boom, you're doing this fight. Some of the fights later on, though, are a little bit more annoying. I think I'm especially annoyed by the one that comes immediately after this one. Wait, no, there's actually is a save point before the one like that comes after this one. But yeah, no. This one, alright. The one with the burning house in Nele Island, terrible. Hate it. Fucking hate it. Though Yamai probably still takes the cake for like worst save point placements in the entire game, though. His is still really annoying. Like, just like the 4 to 5 minute cutscene. Like, holy shit. Just like, why didn't they make it skippable? It's just like the needlessness of it all. I mean, like, at the very least, the one in Nele Island, you know, it's like gameplay you have to go through in order to like reach that level. But like, for the first Yamai fight, it's an entire like 4 to 5 minute cutscene which could be skippable. You know, the gameplay's not skippable, but like cutscenes, they definitely are. It's just like, what the fuck? It's like a walkie-talkie section. Like, what is this? Like a fucking PS3 game? Or it's PS5?
Give me the PS5, why are we still doing this? Fuck!
Though I guess that kind of shows like how derivative PS5 games is like PS3 design. Like, I don't know, like the jump from like PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2 was fucking crazy. And then, well, the jump from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3 was also kind of nuts because, well, in the PlayStation 2 era, like a lot of systems weren't like, I guess, industry standard. Like there was a lot of weird control schemes for certain games, like shooter games especially. I guess like compare the shooting mechanics of like a Metroid Prime to like a Snake Eater to like a Resident Evil 4. It's all different. And then you get to the PS3 era and it's all kind of been like uniform. You know, like they all kind of follow like very similar control patterns. Now like everyone knows, yeah, you should use the triggers to aim. Like there's no reason to do anything else but use the triggers to aim. And then like that design philosophy still exists in like PS4 and it probably still exists in the PS5 games. We have not evolved that much beyond graphics, except that's not entirely true. There's one thing which the PS5 does which is really, really neat. It was like in the Ratchet and Clank game where they can use portals to like instantaneously like take you from level to level like very fast, like super fast loading. That was a really awesome feature of the PS5. Not sure how many games used it, but like that Ratchet and Clank game used it in a really fun way. And I guess, well, the reason why I bring up that there isn't that much difference between like say PS4 and PS5 games is because Yakuza 8 here and Roblox 8, they both released on the same platforms. They both released on the PS4. Yeah, there is a PS5 version which runs at 60 FPS. It probably is the main version of the game maybe. But there is a PS4 version. So this game was still made with PS4 tech in mind. A bit of a weird long pause I took there. I kind of felt like a weird sort of hiccup building up. Not a hiccup per se, but like the thing which is not a hiccup which kind of feels like a hiccup. I mean, maybe that's self-explanatory enough and you can kind of like jot it down from there. So yeah, it runs at 30 FPS on PS4, but it's still made with PS4 tech in mind, which means it's slightly limited. But then again, the Yakuza games have always kind of suffered from this. This is the kind of like multi-tech fascination, or like, you know, multi-cross-gen fascination. Well, okay, it didn't start off like that. Okay, so the first Yakuza game released on PS2, Yakuza 2, PS2, Kenzen, PS3 only, not backwards compatible, because, you know, trying to like make a game which works on PS2 and PS3 is kind of a nightmare. So then you continue on with the games on PS3, and then when the PS4 comes out, I believe that the first game that released on PS3 and PS4 was Ishin. So Ishin was the start of this madness. And you will be forgiven for not knowing that Yakuza 0 was also a part of this madness. Honestly, this madness allowed for the PS4 version of the games to run at a smooth, silky 60 FPS, which is awesome. And I frankly prefer that over the 30 FPS of the Dragon Engine titles on the PS4. But once the PS5 came out, they started running at 60 FPS. And once they got ported to PC, if you had a good enough rig, they also ran at 60 FPS. And if you lowered the graphics enough, they also ran at 60 FPS. So, you know, as the game started getting ported to everything, there was multiple ways to solve the 30 FPS nightmares of the Dragon Engine titles. And well, some people's rigs are so bad they probably can't run Yakuza 5 at like 60 FPS. They probably have to like lower it a bit to 30 FPS. So, you know, things are complicated. And hey, to be fair, the original PS3 originals, Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, were all 30 FPS as well. So it's not like the series has ever really targeted 60 FPS besides like the newer entries with like, you know, Ishin on PS4, Yakuza 0 on PS4. Yakuza 1 and 2 on the PS2 also targeted like 30 FPS. The PS3 HD collection of those games also target 30 FPS. The only way to play those in 60 FPS would be to like install a mod that makes it 60 FPS in a kind of weird and like a non-original way per se. I mean, I don't know how to describe it. It just doesn't feel like it was designed for 60 FPS. Though it would be kind of nice to see those original 2 games in 60 FPS, but like they do feel really nice at 30 FPS. It kind of reminds me how the original Kingdom Hearts feel really nice at 30 FPS. Now, mind you, the original Kingdom Hearts, like 1 and 2, they got ported to PS4, and that finally became 60 FPS. One of the craziest things I found out about is that, you know, the PS3 HD collections of, like, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are still 30 FPS. I didn't know that. Like, that's crazy. Like, they couldn't make the games run at 60, but on PS4, they do make them run at 60, and it is very nice. But those games at 30 FPS still feel really smooth to play. And I probably say that the original Yakuza 1 and 2 are in the same boat. Maybe more so the original Yakuza 2, because Yakuza 1's combat system, like the lock-on, is a little shifty. It's a little weird. It doesn't really lock on the way you want it to lock on. So it's kind of like a fuck. And at this moment in time, I have eaten a tiramisu and a banana. Now, do I recommend the combination? I feel neutral on the combination, really. And now I'm drinking a coffee, and it is quite hot, and I am kind of blocking it with a bit of like an orange blocker for the cup so that the heat retains even when I leave it sitting for long periods of time, because one of the biggest issues I have as a YouTuber no damager is I get a cup of coffee, and I'm just like no damaging, and you know, I can't really take sips because I'm in the middle of doing my most epic no damages, like doing these epic dragon moves, and then I go to take a sip of the coffee, and it's suddenly become cold. Because I spend so much time no damaging and not drinking coffee because I just do not be putting caps on top of my cups. Because a lot of the cups I have don't have caps for them. But this cap I have right now works for nearly every cup. It's kind of like a rubbery one, so it just kind of like latches on. It's got a leaf pattern. Wait. Oh. Yeah, a butterfly. A little like a motif going on in there with a leaf. But it's all orange. It's all kind of like rubbery. And it's going to keep the coffee hot. Hopefully it will keep the coffee hot. Just so that... This is just something which I really needed to spec into. In the same way I spec my Roblox characters here, I needed to spec my own coffee cups so that they can stay hot for longer periods of time. And here we're just going to unleash the Dragon of Dojima style. And I just wanted this much earlier in the game. Like, I wanted to fight like Wong Tou with this style. Though I guess since Wong Tou dodges every attack, that would be kind of funny to see happen in real time. But then again, the only enemies which actually attack you while you're in the Dragon of Dojima style here is just like Majima, Saejima, and Daigo. And I had some really frustrating fails like during those moments because there was one time where like I grabbed Majima and I did the entire like grab throw animation. Like Kiryu was stuck in that animation, but like Majima actually escaped it. And while I was stuck in the throwing animation, I still like I took damage because, you know, I was stuck in the throwing animation. There was nothing I could do about it. I couldn't cancel out of it because the game, I guess Kiryu still thought he was grabbing Majima, but he wasn't. He was grabbing like thin air. I will be uploading footage of that sometime soon. Not too soon, though, because I think it's a little late to do, you know, how to fail the perfect Like a Dragon 8 no damage, because since the video's coming out so soon. So instead, I think I'll just put that fail in like a much bigger meme. I don't know, I guess like the I'm on the edge of my seat, like a Roblox 8 infinite Robux experience sort of thing. Not sure if I have enough footage to warrant a video of that style, but I have something. I got a couple things to work with, a couple things to mess around with. I also am planning on creating a trailer for the mod experience of like a Roblox 8 Infinite Robux. Just kind of like give a little bit more promotion to the entire project, so on and so forth. So that will probably come out after the no damage, but I am going to be working on it, just kind of editing a little thing, especially since I have a PC that can actually record good footage at like 1440p and 4K. Honestly, I think for my future videos, I'm not going to be doing them in 4K anymore. I might stick to 1440p. And what did I tell you? Daigo is easily the strongest of the three. What other like member of the Tojo Legends is pulling off maneuvers like that? Just one kick, like 5 different enemies just get damaged all at the same time. He takes out like 2 to 3 of them at the same. Just such a useful party member. Like this fight, it all depends on your party members and also your ability to time the Sea God's talismans, like dodge. Every now and then, Kiryu will actually dodge the attack. out of his own volition, but you shouldn't count on it. You really need to know the timings for some of these weapon attacks. I actually had the hardest time dodging the bat. Despite the fact that the bat's animation is super slow, I just don't know when the perfect guard like timing is. Like, despite the bat having a really slow and like predictable animation, I don't know when to press the button, so I always fail to dodge that one. The knife, I guess I kind of got used to it, but there's also 2 different knife animations, which can really fuck you over. There's like a really fast one, and there's like the one where he kind of like lunges, which is still fast, but slightly slower. Thank you, Kiryu, for the 1 assist there to bring that guy's like health down. So yeah, this fight depends on a lot of things. Like in that first, I mean, I wanted to do stuff where, you know, I'm not spamming like the really cinematic moves besides like the Dragon of Dojima real-time move, because before I would just either use a summon or I would use like the Dragon Fire move to avoid most of these things, so I never get in a situation where I have to like do a perfect guard. But here, I felt like I had to do a perfect guard, and by now the fight's already over because, you know, I'm going to destroy every single enemy. I used the hammer move, and the hammer move was pretty dope. In fact, it even stunned certain enemies, so I could probably leave these guys alive and my party members could maybe like take them down, but to kind of keep things going, boom, I took them down. We have this big cinematic thing and the music syncs up very beautifully, but if I let it play out, my video is going to get copyright claimed, like demonetized. I'm actually very glad that this song does not block the video worldwide. That actually would have frustrated me a lot. Like a lot. But yeah, like the Tojo clan legends just coming in, like just the Tojo clan may be over, but like their strength remains. Little sync up there. Though this dynamic sequence always kind of threw me off because like the characters just straight up teleport out of nowhere to be in the sequence. Like it's kind of like sloppily put together in comparison to some of the stuff this series has done in the past. Like I think one of the funniest glitches you can have in any of these like modern Yakuza games, and even the old ones, is like you do a heat action and like the camera decides not to be cinematic, because you'll see the characters just teleport from like place to place because that's how they do the different like camera angles. Like every time there's like a camera cut in a heat action, like the way that's directed, the character is like teleporting to like a different area or like teleporting to a different animation. So when you just see that uninterrupted, it looks really goofy. But with the camera changes and like the cinematic angles, like it actually looks really dope and cool and, you know, like cinematic. But when you don't have that, like I've had that glitch happen to me while playing Judgment. And I'm not sure if that's ever happened to me. Oh, it happened to me once in Kiwami 2 with like the big pole heat action. I think I actually included that in like my Roblox Kiwami 2 like meme video. And here we have the Lingering Kiwami force. Jingu's soldiers from Kiwami 1, who are still alive to this day and have joined the Seiryu clan. They're one of the strongest opponents Roblox Kiryu has ever faced in his life, and they're back for vengeance. The Kiwami never dies, but Kiryu is here to put it down for one last time. But they'll come back in the next game, I'm afraid. Kiwami will never be over. But hopefully the Lingering Kiwami force can become the Lingering Good Kiwami force instead of like the Lingering Evil Kiwami force they have here. In fact, if you look into their eyes very closely, you'll see that they still have the red heat auras from Yakuza 6 and Kiwami 2, which is crazy. They're still like holding on to that evil from those previous games. So this fight could be considered one of the worst save point placements in the entire game, because you have to like repeat nearly the entire second half of the level to reach them every single time, and that takes around like 4 to 5 minutes. But this is the first time I actually take advantage of the game's retry option. For whenever you have to like retry the game, you like die, you retry, and then it just puts you back into the fight immediately. I typically don't do that precisely because you have way too much health to die quickly, and it would actually be quicker to just load a save and start again, because most fights have really good save point placement. And here, despite the fact that Saiko got right in front of the fire, when I did like the perfect guard parry there, perfect guard like Sea God's Talisman move, both of them dodged at the exact same time. I got super lucky there. I'm very glad that like the collateral damage actually did not happen and everyone actually dodged the attack exactly when I needed them to dodge the attack. And this fight usually, when you start off the fight, they'll always have the first move, but this is like the one rare chance where they actually did not start off with the first move. But this was like either my second or third time retrying the fight, so that's kind of part of the reason why I went first instead of them going first, so on and so forth. It's very rare for you to go first in this fight. And, well, in order to take advantage of the retry option, I entered this fight with really low health. And now, how did I get Kiryu to really low health? Well, it's kind of like a mix of things. I took a lot of damage during the... And here's the Ultimate Essence heat action. I did not know you could do this heat action at red health. I only figured this out when I did this fight. And I think it's just the perfect way to kind of cap off the fight. And then, boom, you take this guy out, and then he knocks himself into the other guy. Holy, it's perfect. It's perfect. I am in love with that. I am in love with that. I fuck with that heavy. But yeah, no, so I take a lot of damage in like the Tojo Legends like team up fight, and then when I'm running away from the helicopter, I just let it shoot me every now and then. I don't know if I would recommend waiting for the helicopter to get you to red health specifically, but you know, chip a bit of your damage with the Tojo Clan Legends fight, and then like let the helicopter take a bit of health, because unlike the mines, it actually takes quite a bit to recover from like the helicopter shots. And they kind of happen in a periodic fashion, like nowhere near as fast as the mines, so yeah. So that's how I dealt with this fight's like horrid save point placement. I just got really low health and just died every time, and I retried. This is actually like the last fight I had to no damage before finishing this entire video, because I finished Ebina first, because I got a save point for Ebina, and I just kept reloading the save point for Ebina before tackling this fight over and over again, because holy fuck, the placement of this fight was just so annoying. I actually only figured out the whole red health retry option like after like struggling with this for like 3 hours, and I'm so mad about this fight because my first attempt I actually landed the perfect guard timing perfectly and I dodged the attack, and then I had like 7 more attempts where I could not get the timing down for the life of me. And after like 7 attempts, I was like, wait, hold up. I cannot keep doing this. I cannot keep doing these 4 minutes of gameplay over and over again just to try this fight again and fail to dodge the first attack. So I went with the retry option instead. And it's like the first retry option I did in the entire game, because like every other chance in the game just doesn't really fit. Though maybe there might be 1 or 2 fights where you'll feel inclined to do that. Like I don't even know how you could lower your health before the first Yamai fight. I think there's like 1 fight you can enter, and there's super weak enemies. You can't really do anything about that. And we're finally here with Ebina. And yeah, no, I mean, even though it's 7 minutes and this like 7-minute fight is longer than my version in like the long battles video, but this version does not, or it uses summons once. It does not use it twice, because like, I mean, in that other video I used summons quite a bit, and I guess I skip a couple of the summons. I do not use the dolphin move in this fight, which I thought I was gonna have to do, because the dolphin move is like one of the most useful moves in the game. I mean, I've explained this, and oh, I actually screamed at, let's finish this! I screamed that out in that video, and I did it again now. Honestly, I think my voice acting needs a lot of work. Like, I need to like go take a class or something, like get a voice coach, you know? I mean, I've done my iconic screams in the past, but now I need to learn how to do iconic drama and character building. I don't know if I'm that skilled with those abilities, but this is also going to be the one fight where I start spamming the substitution jutsu a lot. Like, I mean, I did it less in the previous fights, but this one I'm going to be pretty much spamming the substitution jutsu pretty much every single chance I get to give Kiryu as many turns as possible, because my strategy kind of revolves around do this Dragon Resurgence move at the beginning, and then do it at the end, and then defeat Ebina that way. And also paralyze him. But also, like, it's kind of random whether I paralyze him or not, so I'm actually waiting to, like, perfect guard, parry, dodge, Sea God King's Talisman, repeat that 5 times fast. Like, one of his moves in the first phase, because it's actually possible. Like, there's this move he does, it's like the Wheel of Samar, or the Wheel of Pain, or the Wheel of Death. I've actually managed to dodge that attack 2 or 3 separate times. And then, like, every time he would do it, like, after those 3 or separate times would be the biggest pain in the ass, because I would fuck it up, and I would just hate the fact that I fuck it up. There's another move he does where it's like, you know, Destiny's Punishment, where, like, he tackles, like, 3 party members, like, 1v1. I've been able to dodge the first hit of that attack, but, like, the second and third hit, I've just have not been able to time that well. Like, the timing of that one is an actual bitch. But, like, your best case scenario here is just not let him attack at all and have him be paralyzed immediately from your first jellyfish juice, which just, that never happens. That has, like, a fucking 1 in 15 chance of happening, and it happened for this attempt specifically. I wasn't even trying to go for the paralysis, like, fucking strategy that quickly, but it worked out that quickly, and it was beautiful. And then for the rest of these times, I cannot troll around. There is no fucking, you cannot troll this guy in the second phase. You have to actually try to kill him as fast as possible and as efficiently as possible. So do not let Psycho ever get like a hit in there. You're just gonna be wasting your time. Don't even let like Seong-hee do like her special move, like her special tennis move. It doesn't fucking work. She's not a tennis player, but I gave her like a special tennis move as one of her backups, because we all have 100% level 100 bonds. If you do not know that, I am the bestest of friends with every single one of my friends in this game, just like in Roblox. Except not really. I didn't have. I mean, I'm pretty sure I had like a few friends in Roblox. I mean, I have my real-life friends who've played Roblox, but I have not played that game in a long while. But it's good that I finally have, like, a PC build that can actually run it. One of these days, I'll actually no damage, like, Right to Fight, which is, like, an actual Yakuza Roblox game on the Roblox service that you can play for free on the Roblox service. I hope it's for free, unless you need to, like, customize your character with clothing or whatnot. Boom, big epic beatdown, and then big epic transition to the next song. This is going to be a much sadder song, much more AMV focused. Oh my goodness. This entire song is about Ebina's relationship with his father, Masumi Arakawa, who was a very abandoned father. He didn't like paying attention at all, and he pretty much kind of set him on the path to pretty much give the entire Yakuza a collective holocaust. And I was planning on making an AMV of that. However, I ran into a really big issue, and it's that in Roblox 7 and in Roblox 8, Masumi Arakawa does not appear much. There is not much footage of him to work with. He's more like, let's say, oh fuck, there was a great word for this, I forgot. Like he's in those games less than he is in Ebina's life. So just that whole AMV thing, I'm gonna have to like choose a symbolic figure for Masumi Arakawa for the Roblox AMV than like actual footage of him, because he's like a cryptid, you know, he's like the Mothman. He's like a fucking pink Tesla. It is impossible to find him in the Roblox verse. He's kind of like solely stuck in the dragon and the human verse. So yeah, the first phase, we do one summon, and we constantly attack him until he's paralyzed. Once he's paralyzed, we prioritize knife moves. And then once we hit the second phase, we prioritize fire and water moves. The knife and electricity moves, he's not weak to that anymore. He used to be weak to that, but he's not weak to that anymore. And since he's paralyzed, and like actually a very rare thing happened where despite the fact that, you know, every time you enter the second phase, he'll do like the whole healing thing, like at the start of the second phase, he doesn't do it this time. He actually does it way later in the fight, which gives me a lot more turns to work with, but like that is not the natural progression of things. Like even if he is paralyzed, like he'll do the healing at the start of the second phase. Like the one time the paralysis actually works as intended. This is not, and I say works as intended when most of the times that you do it, it doesn't do this. So it's actually a very rare thing for it to work out like this. So I'm going to be using the substitution jutsu with like Kiryu every single time I get. Namba will like bring like supporting fire every now and then. We'll do a little fire attack here because he's weak to fire, but he doesn't take that much damage from Namba because I'm not really using like attack boosters with Namba. I am doing War Cry with Kiryu every single chance I get. And he's also weak to gun in the second phase, so I did do the one gun move with Kiryu. I didn't want to like do too many moves that like waste too much time. Kind of want to do more brief moves. Yeah, like the one time he stops being paralyzed, instead of doing an attack, he does the healing thing. It's beautiful. Like, you couldn't ask for a better setup. I had like 2 to 3 different like attempts that were basically this exact same setup but different, and I kept fucking them up because I kept trolling around. I kept doing like weak moves, which like fucked me over in the end. You know, I didn't like give the turn to Kiryu at any chance I get. And it's those failures that pretty much informed this successful attempt, where I decided not to troll around and just spam substitution jutsu with Kiryu. But at the very least, I only used one summon, and it was like the shortest summon of them all, so like it kind of saves the most amount of time possible. It's still a decently long fight, but it is the final boss fight. It might as well be 7 minutes. I mean, like, I actually had a longer attempt with Shishido, but that was mostly just because of the 4th phase. Honestly, I think my Shishido fight was a similar length in my original Like a Dragon Gaiden video. And now the video is over, but I can't really stop talking. I should probably mention one more piece of text. So when you're in this Dragon of Heat mode, in the beginning, maybe do like the full combo, the boom, 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 boom. But like when he's on the ground, don't do the full like square combo. Deliberately stop after the 8th hit of your light attack and do heavy attacks. You'll just deal more damage eventually. And also just throw in like a light, heavy every now and then. And also there's just like this bullshit thing that happens where sometimes the enemy's body will collide with your character model in the most strangest of ways. And when it collides with your model in the most strangest of ways, you end up taking damage from bullshit. Like every time you get damaged during this mode, like during the Dragon of Dojima mode, it is always over the most bullshit stuff imaginable. Like, believe me, you are not at fault. The game is at fucking fault. Because I don't know what the fuck hit me. Like, was it a piece of environment? Was it the enemy himself? The enemy can't attack you during this. So, like, what the fuck? So, yeah, there, I kind of did, like, my own version of the scream where I started, like, grumbling and I started building it up. Not sure if I really outdid Youngay. I did not. But I kind of did, like something like that. And yeah, thank you so much for watching my Like a Roblox 8 Infinite Roblox Legend No Damage All Boss Fights commentary video. And I'll see you all then for the next one. Peace out. Much love. Bye-bye.